Welcome to a journey through time and tide, where the boundaries between fact and legend blur beneath the crushing weight of ocean depths and the relentless march of centuries. Today, we embark on an exploration that will challenge everything you thought you knew about our planet's hidden past, diving deep into the most perplexing artifacts and mysterious locations that continue to baffle historians, archaeologists, and mystery enthusiasts worldwide. The vast expanse of our world's oceans covers more than 70% of Earth's surface, yet we have explored less than 5% of these underwater realms. Beneath the waves lie secrets that have remained hidden for millennia, ancient civilizations swallowed by rising seas, technological marvels that shouldn't exist according to our understanding of historical timelines, and phenomena that defy conventional explanation. These are not mere tales spun from imagination or folklore passed down through generations. These are documented discoveries, recorded disappearances, and verified archaeological finds that pose fundamental questions about human history, ancient knowledge, and the very nature of our past. Each mystery we'll explore today represents a piece of a larger puzzle, one that suggests our understanding of history may be incomplete, if not entirely incorrect. Traditional historical narratives often present a linear progression of human development, with each civilization building upon the achievements of its predecessors in a neat, orderly fashion. Yet the artifacts and locations we'll examine today suggest a far more complex reality. We'll encounter evidence of advanced engineering capabilities existing thousands of years before such technology was supposedly invented, underwater structures that predate known civilizations, and disappearances that seem to violate the laws of physics themselves. Consider for a moment the implications of finding sophisticated mechanical devices in shipwrecks dating back over 2,000 years, or discovering perfectly preserved cities beneath the Mediterranean that flourished when the surrounding land was supposedly uninhabitable. These discoveries don't merely add footnotes to existing historical accounts. They fundamentally challenge our understanding of when and how human civilization developed. What makes these mysteries particularly compelling is not just their individual significance, but the pattern they reveal when examined collectively. From the mysterious geometric structures found off the coast of Japan to the advanced astronomical calculator recovered from an ancient Greek shipwreck, these discoveries share common threads that suggest our ancestors possessed knowledge and capabilities far beyond what mainstream archaeology acknowledges. The evidence is not anecdotal or based on speculation. These are physical artifacts that can be touched, measured, and analyzed using the most advanced scientific techniques available today. They are underwater structures that can be explored, photographed, and mapped with precision. They are documented historical events with official records, witness testimonies, and ongoing investigations that span decades or even centuries. One of the most fascinating aspects of many deep-sea discoveries is the presence of what researchers term technological anachronisms, objects or capabilities that appear in historical contexts where they theoretically shouldn't exist. The implications of such discoveries extend far beyond academic curiosity, potentially rewriting entire chapters of human history. These anachronisms aren't limited to simple tools or basic mechanical devices. We're talking about complex systems that demonstrate advanced understanding of mathematics, astronomy, metallurgy, and engineering principles. Some of these artifacts display precision manufacturing techniques that rival modern capabilities, raising profound questions about the technological achievements of ancient civilizations. The preservation qualities of underwater environments have proven invaluable in maintaining these artifacts in conditions that would have destroyed them on land centuries ago. The cold, oxygen-poor environment of deep ocean waters has created natural time capsules, preserving organic materials, metals, and even delicate mechanisms in remarkable condition. The ocean has always been humanity's greatest highway and most formidable adversary. For thousands of years, brave souls have ventured across its surface, carrying with them the hopes, dreams, and treasures of entire civilizations. Yet the sea gives up its secrets reluctantly, and some vessels that have disappeared beneath its waves have left behind mysteries that continue to perplex investigators to this day. These aren't simply cases of ships lost to storms or navigational errors. The disappearances we'll examine display patterns and circumstances that defy conventional explanation. Vessels vanishing without trace in calm weather, ships found intact but completely abandoned with no sign of their crews, and submarines that seem to have simply dissolved into the depths without leaving any debris field or distress signals. Each of these maritime mysteries represents more than just a tragic loss of life or valuable cargo. They are windows into phenomena that our current understanding of physics, weather patterns, and human behavior cannot adequately explain. The circumstances surrounding these disappearances often involve elements that challenge our fundamental assumptions about reality itself. Perhaps the most profound mysteries we'll explore are the underwater cities and structures that hint at lost civilizations whose very existence challenges established historical timelines. These aren't the ruins of known cultures that simply happen to be submerged by rising sea levels. These are complex urban centers, sophisticated architectural achievements, and organized settlements that flourished in locations and time periods where mainstream archaeology insists advanced civilization could not have existed. The discovery of these underwater cities raises fundamental questions about human migration patterns, the development of agriculture and urban planning, and the true age of human civilization itself. Some of these structures display construction techniques and architectural sophistication that surpasses many later civilizations, suggesting that human development may not have followed the neat, linear progression that traditional history suggests. Carbon dating, geological analysis, and underwater archaeology have confirmed that many of these sites are far older than initially believed, some predating the supposed dawn of civilization by thousands of years. The implications are staggering. If these discoveries are authentic, and growing evidence suggests they are, then we may need to completely reconsider our understanding of when and how human civilization began. The deepest parts of our oceans remain among the least explored regions on Earth. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own ocean trenches. In these alien environments, where pressure exceeds anything found elsewhere on our planet and sunlight has never penetrated, researchers have documented phenomena that challenge our understanding of biology, geology, and physics. Strange formations that appear artificial, yet predate human presence in the region, massive structures that seem to defy geological explanation, and biological anomalies that suggest life forms far larger and more complex than previously thought possible. These discoveries aren't limited to remote, inaccessible locations. Some of the most puzzling phenomena have been found in well-traveled shipping lanes and thoroughly mapped ocean floors. The technology that allows us to explore these depths is relatively new, and each expedition seems to uncover more questions than answers. Advanced sonar systems reveal geometric patterns on the ocean floor that appear too regular to be natural formations. Deep-sea cameras capture images of structures that seem to show signs of intelligent design, yet exist in locations where no known civilization ever lived. Our ability to explore and document these mysteries has been revolutionized by advances in underwater technology. Sophisticated sonar mapping systems can now create detailed three-dimensional images of underwater structures with unprecedented accuracy. Remote-operated vehicles equipped with high-definition cameras can explore depths that would crush human divers instantly, bringing back footage of artifacts and formations that would have remained hidden forever just decades ago. Satellite technology has also played a crucial role in identifying potential sites of interest. Advanced imaging systems can detect subtle variations in water temperature, current patterns, and even gravitational anomalies that may indicate the presence of large underwater structures. These technological tools have transformed underwater archaeology from a field limited by human endurance and visibility to one capable of systematic, comprehensive exploration of previously inaccessible regions. However, technology alone cannot provide all the answers. Each new discovery seems to generate additional questions, and many of the phenomena we'll examine today continue to resist explanation despite our most advanced analytical techniques. Some mysteries seem to become more puzzling the more we learn about them, suggesting that our fundamental understanding of history, physics, or biology may be incomplete. The mysteries we'll explore today highlight an important aspect of scientific inquiry: the willingness to revise established theories when new evidence emerges. The scientific method requires that we follow the evidence wherever it leads, even if it challenges deeply held beliefs about the past or forces us to reconsider fundamental assumptions about human development. This process isn't always comfortable or straightforward. Academic institutions, textbook publishers, and established researchers have invested considerable time and resources in supporting existing historical narratives. When new discoveries challenge these established views, the response isn't always immediate acceptance. Instead, there's often a period of skepticism, debate, and careful verification before new evidence is incorporated into accepted historical accounts. The underwater discoveries we'll examine have been subject to this rigorous scientific scrutiny. Multiple independent research teams have verified many of these findings using different methodologies and technologies. Carbon dating results have been cross-checked and confirmed by various laboratories. Geological analysis has been performed by experts from multiple disciplines and institutions. One of the most intriguing aspects of these deep-sea mysteries is the patterns that emerge when they're examined collectively rather than as isolated incidents. Geographic clustering of unusual phenomena, temporal correlations between different types of discoveries, and technological parallels between artifacts found thousands of miles apart all suggest that these mysteries may be connected in ways we don't yet understand. Some researchers have noted that many of the most significant underwater archaeological discoveries occur along specific geological formations, ancient coastlines, underwater mountain ranges, and areas where tectonic activity has dramatically altered the seafloor over time. This pattern suggests that rising sea levels at the end of the last ice age may have submerged far more advanced civilizations than previously believed. The temporal distribution of these discoveries is equally intriguing. Many of the most sophisticated artifacts and structures date to periods that mainstream archaeology considers to be prehistoric or barely civilized. Yet the evidence suggests the existence of complex societies with advanced technological capabilities during these supposedly primitive periods. These discoveries don't merely add interesting footnotes to existing historical narratives. They fundamentally challenge the orthodox view of human development and technological progress. If even a fraction of these mysteries prove to be authentic indicators of advanced ancient civilizations, then much of what we teach about prehistory and early human development may need to be completely reconsidered. Academic orthodoxy isn't maintained out of stubborn adherence to outdated ideas, but rather from the practical necessity of building knowledge systematically upon established foundations. However, when physical evidence consistently contradicts theoretical frameworks, the frameworks must eventually be modified to accommodate the new data. The underwater mysteries we'll examine today represent exactly this type of challenging evidence. They can't be easily dismissed or explained away using existing theories, yet they're too well documented and thoroughly verified to ignore. This creates a tension between established academic positions and emerging archaeological evidence that continues to drive research and debate in multiple fields. What makes these mysteries particularly compelling is their global distribution. We're not talking about isolated incidents confined to a single geographic region or cultural area. These phenomena appear in every ocean, affecting vessels from every maritime nation and involving artifacts from diverse civilizations across multiple continents and time periods. This global distribution suggests that whatever forces or circumstances are responsible for these mysteries operate on a planetary scale. Whether we're dealing with unknown geological processes, undiscovered aspects of oceanography, or evidence of ancient civilizations with far greater reach than previously imagined, the scope of these phenomena demands explanation. The consistency of certain characteristics across different locations is particularly noteworthy. Similar construction techniques appear in underwater structures found thousands of miles apart. Comparable technological sophistication appears in artifacts from entirely different cultures and time periods. Parallel disappearance patterns affect vessels from different nations operating in completely separate ocean basins. One of the key factors that makes underwater archaeological sites so valuable is the exceptional preservation conditions found in deep ocean environments. The combination of cold temperatures, high pressure, and limited oxygen creates natural preservation conditions that can maintain organic materials for thousands of years longer than would be possible on land. This preservation advantage means that underwater sites often contain artifacts and structural elements that would have long since decomposed if exposed to normal atmospheric conditions. Wooden ship components, leather goods, textiles, and even food items have been recovered from underwater sites in conditions that allow detailed analysis of ancient manufacturing techniques, dietary practices, and daily life. The preservation of organic materials also enables more accurate dating through radiocarbon analysis and other scientific methods. While surface sites may only preserve stone and metal artifacts, underwater sites can provide organic samples that allow researchers to establish precise chronologies and better understand the historical context of their discoveries. Despite our advanced technology and sophisticated analytical methods, many of these underwater mysteries continue to resist explanation. High-resolution sonar can map every detail of an underwater structure, but cannot explain how it was built or why it was abandoned. Chemical analysis can determine the exact composition of ancient alloys, but cannot explain how such precision was achieved without modern refining techniques. This persistence of mystery in the face of advanced investigation techniques suggests that some of these phenomena may represent aspects of ancient knowledge or natural processes that remain beyond our current understanding. Rather than indicating the limits of our technology, these enduring mysteries may reveal the limits of our theoretical frameworks and conceptual models. The most sophisticated instruments can measure and record physical phenomena with incredible precision, but they cannot provide context, motivation, or historical significance. Understanding these mysteries requires not just technological capability, but also theoretical frameworks that can accommodate evidence that doesn't fit existing models of human development and historical progression. Behind every mysterious artifact and unexplained phenomenon are human stories, the lives, ambitions, fears, and achievements of people who lived in times and places we're only beginning to understand. These aren't abstract puzzles or academic curiosities, but windows into the experiences of real people who faced challenges, created solutions, and left behind evidence of their existence. The crews of vanished ships were individuals with families, hopes, and dreams who trusted their lives to vessels and navigation techniques that we're still trying to understand. The builders of underwater cities were organized societies with complex social structures, technological capabilities, and cultural achievements that challenge our assumptions about ancient civilizations. Understanding these mysteries requires us to think, not just as scientists and researchers, but as fellow human beings trying to comprehend the experiences of our ancestors. What motivated ancient peoples to undertake massive construction projects in locations that are now underwater? What knowledge and techniques did they possess that allowed them to achieve results that challenge our modern capabilities? Over the next several hours, we'll explore 16 of the most compelling underwater mysteries ever documented. Each represents a unique puzzle that challenges our understanding of history, technology, or natural phenomena. Some involve ancient artifacts that shouldn't exist according to established historical timelines. Others feature modern disappearances that seem to violate basic physical laws. Still others reveal evidence of lost civilizations whose very existence forces us to reconsider fundamental assumptions about human development. We'll examine the physical evidence, explore various theories and explanations, and consider the broader implications of each mystery for our understanding of the past. We'll look at the technology and techniques used to investigate these phenomena, the debates and controversies they've generated in academic circles, and the ongoing research efforts aimed at solving these enduring puzzles. Our journey will take us from the controversial underwater formations off the coast of Japan to the precision-engineered mechanism recovered from an ancient Greek shipwreck, from modern naval vessels that vanished without explanation to prehistoric cities that flourished beneath what are now ocean waters. Each mystery we explore will add another piece to a larger puzzle, one that suggests human history may be far more complex, ancient civilizations far more sophisticated, and our planet's past far more mysterious than conventional wisdom acknowledges. Whether these discoveries ultimately confirm existing theories or force us to develop entirely new frameworks for understanding the past remains to be seen. What we can say with certainty is that the ocean depths continue to yield discoveries that challenge our preconceptions and expand our understanding of what's possible. In an age when many believe there are no frontiers left to explore, the deep sea continues to remind us that our planet still holds secrets that can fundamentally change how we view our own history and capabilities. The mysteries we're about to explore don't offer easy answers or simple explanations. They're complex, multifaceted puzzles that have resisted solution despite decades or even centuries of investigation. But that's exactly what makes them so fascinating and significant. They represent the edge of human knowledge, the boundary between what we think we know and what we're still struggling to understand. As we embark on this exploration together, keep an open mind and prepare to question assumptions you may have held for years. The evidence we'll examine is real, documented and verified. The implications are profound and far-reaching. The mysteries are genuine and enduring. Welcome to 4 hours of the most perplexing, challenging, and fascinating underwater mysteries ever documented. Let's begin our descent into the unknown. Now that we've established the scope and significance of underwater mysteries, let's begin our exploration with perhaps the most controversial and debated underwater structure ever discovered. We start our journey in the waters off Japan, where a discovery has challenged everything we thought we knew about ancient civilizations and their capabilities. The Yonaguni Monument, Japan's underwater enigma. In the crystal-clear waters off the coast of Yonaguni Island, the westernmost inhabited island of Japan, lies one of the most controversial underwater discoveries of the modern era. The Yonaguni Monument, as it has come to be known, presents us with our first major challenge to conventional archaeological thinking and demonstrates perfectly why underwater discoveries continue to perplex researchers decades after their initial discovery. The story begins in 1986 when Kihachiro Aratake, a local diving instructor, was exploring the waters near Yonaguni Island in search of a good location to observe hammerhead sharks. What he discovered instead would launch one of the most heated debates in underwater archaeology. Approximately 60 feet beneath the Pacific Ocean surface, Aratake encountered massive stone structures that appeared to display clear signs of artificial construction and deliberate design. The structures that Aratake discovered are truly massive in scale. The main formation rises approximately 75 feet from the ocean floor and measures roughly 500 feet in length and 130 feet in width. These are not small, easily explained rock formations, but rather enormous structures that would represent a significant engineering achievement for any civilization, ancient or modern. The monument displays what appear to be terraced platforms, wide steps, smooth surfaces, and sharp angles that seem far too regular and precise to be the result of natural geological processes. What makes the Yonaguni Monument particularly intriguing is the level of apparent sophistication in its construction. The structures display evidence of what researchers describe as advanced stone-cutting techniques, with surfaces that appear to have been deliberately flattened and edges that have been carved with remarkable precision. Some sections of the monument feature what appear to be stairs with uniform dimensions, while other areas display platform-like formations that suggest they may have served specific functional purposes. The geometric precision observed in various sections of the Yonaguni Monument is perhaps its most compelling feature. Researchers have documented numerous examples of right angles, parallel lines, and symmetrical formations that would be extremely difficult to explain as natural phenomena. The consistent angles and proportions found throughout different sections of the structure suggest a unified design plan and systematic construction approach that implies intelligent design and deliberate engineering. Marine geologist Professor Masaki Kimura of the University of the Ryukyus has conducted extensive research on the Yonaguni Monument and has become one of its most vocal proponents as an artificial structure. Professor Kimura has spent decades diving at the site, measuring and documenting the various formations, and has identified what he believes to be clear evidence of human modification and construction. His research has revealed numerous features that he argues could not have been created by natural processes alone. According to Professor Kimura's analysis, the monument displays several characteristics that strongly suggest artificial construction. These include what appear to be quarry marks where stone blocks may have been removed, smooth surfaces that show evidence of deliberate finishing work, and structural features that seem to serve specific architectural purposes. Professor Kimura has also identified what he believes to be representations of animals and human figures carved into various surfaces of the structure. The dating of the Yonaguni Monument presents another layer of complexity to this already puzzling discovery. Geological evidence suggests that the area where the monument is located was above sea level during the last ice age, which ended approximately 12,000 years ago. If the monument is indeed an artificial structure, as Professor Kimura and others argue, then it would have been constructed when the area was dry land, before being submerged by rising sea levels as the ice age ended. This timeline places the potential construction of the Yonaguni Monument at a period when mainstream archaeology maintains that human civilizations lacked the technological capabilities and organizational structures necessary for such massive construction projects. The implications of this timeline are staggering, as they suggest the existence of advanced civilizations thousands of years before the supposed dawn of organized human societies. However, the artificial origin theory of the Yonaguni Monument is not universally accepted within the scientific community. Several prominent geologists and archaeologists have argued that the structures can be explained entirely through natural geological processes without requiring any human intervention or construction. These skeptics point to the stratified nature of the local bedrock and the known geological history of the region as sufficient explanation for the monument's formation. Dr. Robert Schoch, a geologist from Boston University, who has also conducted research at the site, represents the natural formation perspective. While Dr. Schoch acknowledges that some aspects of the monument are unusual and potentially puzzling, he maintains that the overall structure can be explained through natural processes such as tectonic activity, erosion, and the inherent properties of the local sandstone formations. The sandstone in the Yonaguni area is known to fracture along natural plains, creating formations that can appear artificial to untrained observers. Tectonic activity in the region has been significant over geological time periods, and the combination of earthquake-induced fracturing and subsequent erosion by ocean currents could potentially create formations that mimic artificial construction. Dr. Schoch and other natural formation proponents argue that what appears to be evidence of human modification is actually the result of these natural processes operating over thousands of years. The debate between artificial and natural origin theories has been further complicated by the discovery of additional features at the Yonaguni site that seem to support both perspectives. Some formations display the kind of regular geometric patterns that suggest deliberate construction, while others show characteristics more consistent with natural geological processes. This mixed evidence has prevented any definitive resolution of the controversy and has kept the debate active within the scientific community. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Yonaguni Monument is the presence of what appear to be tool marks and human modifications in certain areas. Professor Kimura has documented numerous examples of what he interprets as evidence of stone-cutting tools, including parallel grooves that appear to have been created by repeated cutting actions and surfaces that show signs of deliberate smoothing and finishing. These features, if authentic, would provide strong evidence for human involvement in the structure's creation. The discovery of what may be quarrying activities at the site adds another dimension to the mystery. Several areas of the monument appear to show evidence of stone blocks having been removed, with the remaining formations displaying the kinds of patterns that would result from systematic quarrying operations. If these interpretations are correct, they would suggest not only that the monument was artificially constructed, but that it may have served as a source of building materials for other projects. The potential cultural significance of the Yonaguni Monument extends beyond questions of its artificial or natural origin. If the structure is indeed the product of human construction, it would represent evidence of sophisticated engineering capabilities existing in the region thousands of years before the emergence of known advanced civilizations in Asia. This would require a fundamental revision of our understanding of early human development and the timeline of technological advancement. Some researchers have proposed that the Yonaguni Monument may be connected to the legendary lost continent of Mu, which according to various theories was an advanced Pacific civilization that was destroyed by natural disasters thousands of years ago. While such connections remain highly speculative and lack concrete supporting evidence, they illustrate the potential implications of accepting the monument as an artificial structure. The geographic location of the Yonaguni Monument also raises interesting questions about ancient seafaring capabilities and cultural connections. If the structure is artificial and dates to the proposed time frame, it would suggest that ancient peoples in the region possessed advanced maritime technologies that allowed them to navigate and settle in areas that are now submerged. This would imply a level of nautical sophistication that predates known developments in shipbuilding and navigation by thousands of years. Recent technological advances have allowed for more detailed investigation of the Yonaguni Monument using sophisticated underwater surveying equipment. Three-dimensional mapping technologies have created precise digital models of the entire structure, allowing researchers to analyze its features with unprecedented accuracy. These detailed surveys have revealed additional geometric patterns and structural relationships that were not apparent from earlier investigations. The use of underwater robotics has also enabled exploration of areas of the monument that are difficult or dangerous for human divers to access. These robotic surveys have documented additional features and formations that add to the complexity of the site and provide new data for both artificial and natural origin theories to consider. Despite decades of research and investigation, the Yonaguni Monument remains one of the most controversial and debated underwater discoveries ever made. The evidence supporting both artificial and natural origin theories continues to evolve as new research techniques become available and additional features of the site are documented and analyzed. Heraklion, the lost Egyptian port beneath the Mediterranean. From the controversial structures off Japan, our journey takes us halfway around the world to the Mediterranean Sea, where one of antiquity's greatest cities lay hidden beneath the waves for over 1,000 years. The discovery of Heraklion, also known as Thonis to the ancient Greeks, represents one of the most significant underwater archaeological achievements of the modern era and provides us with invaluable insights into ancient Egyptian civilization and Mediterranean trade networks. Heraklion was once Egypt's most important port city, serving as the country's main gateway for trade with the Greek world and other Mediterranean civilizations. Historical texts from ancient writers including Herodotus described Heraklion as a magnificent city of great wealth and importance, but for centuries, its exact location remained a mystery. Many scholars began to wonder if the city had ever existed at all, or if ancient descriptions had been greatly exaggerated. The mystery of Heraklion's disappearance was solved in the year 2000 when French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio and his team from the European Institute for Underwater Archaeology made one of the most spectacular archaeological discoveries of the 21st century. Using advanced sonar equipment and magnetometers, Gaudio's team located the remains of the lost city approximately 4 miles off the coast of Alexandria, resting on the floor of Abu Qir Bay at a depth of approximately 30 feet. What Gaudio and his team discovered exceeded even the most optimistic expectations. The underwater ruins of Heraklion revealed a city of remarkable size and sophistication, with massive temple complexes, residential areas, harbors, and canal systems that demonstrated the advanced urban planning capabilities of ancient Egyptian civilization. The preservation of the site was extraordinary, with many structures remaining largely intact after more than a millennium beneath the Mediterranean waters. The temple complexes discovered at Heraklion are particularly impressive in their scale and architectural sophistication. The main temple, dedicated to the god Amun-Gareb, covers an enormous area and features massive stone blocks weighing several tons each. The precision with which these blocks were cut and fitted together demonstrates the advanced stoneworking techniques possessed by ancient Egyptian craftsmen. The temple foundations remain remarkably well preserved, allowing archaeologists to reconstruct the original layout and design of these magnificent structures. One of the most significant discoveries at Heraklion has been the recovery of numerous colossal statues that once adorned the city's temples and public spaces. These massive sculptures, carved from red granite and other durable stones, have survived their underwater environment in remarkable condition. The largest of these statues stands over 15 feet tall and weighs several tons, representing an impressive feat of both artistic achievement and logistical capability in their original construction and placement. The discovery of hieroglyphic inscriptions throughout the Heraklion site has provided archaeologists with invaluable information about the city's history, religious practices, and administrative systems. These inscriptions have confirmed many details about the city that were previously known only from ancient literary sources, while also revealing new information about daily life, trade relationships, and religious ceremonies in ancient Egypt. The harbor installations discovered at Heraklion reveal the sophisticated maritime infrastructure that supported the city's role as Egypt's primary port. The remains of ancient quays, loading facilities, and protective breakwaters demonstrate the advanced engineering capabilities applied to maritime commerce in the ancient world. The harbor design incorporated features that would allow vessels of various sizes to dock safely and efficiently, supporting the extensive trade networks that connected Egypt with civilizations throughout the Mediterranean region. Archaeological evidence from Heraklion indicates that the city served as more than just a commercial port. The discovery of religious artifacts, ceremonial objects, and temple complexes suggests that Heraklion also functioned as an important religious center where Egyptian and Greek deities were worshipped side by side. This religious syncretism reflects the cosmopolitan nature of the city and its role as a cultural meeting point between different civilizations. The artifacts recovered from Heraklion provide fascinating insights into the daily lives of the city's inhabitants and the international nature of ancient Mediterranean trade. Pottery fragments from Greece, Cyprus, and other Mediterranean regions demonstrate the extensive commercial networks that connected Heraklion with distant markets. Coins from various ancient civilizations found at the site illustrate the monetary systems that facilitated international commerce. Gold jewelry, religious objects, and luxury goods recovered from the site reveal the wealth and sophistication of Heraklion's inhabitants. These artifacts demonstrate advanced metalworking techniques and artistic capabilities that rival the finest achievements of ancient civilizations. The preservation of organic materials in the underwater environment has also allowed archaeologists to recover items that would have long since decomposed in terrestrial archaeological sites. The question of how and why Heraklion became submerged has been the subject of extensive research and debate among archaeologists and geologists. Multiple factors likely contributed to the city's eventual disappearance beneath the Mediterranean waters, including earthquakes, tsunamis, and gradual subsidence of the land on which the city was built. Geological evidence suggests that the Nile Delta region where Heraklion was located has been subject to significant tectonic activity over the centuries. Major earthquakes documented in historical records could have caused sudden land subsidence that would have rapidly submerged large areas of the city. The soft, sedimentary nature of the Nile Delta also makes the region susceptible to gradual sinking over time, particularly when loaded with the weight of massive stone structures. Tsunami activity in the Mediterranean has also been proposed as a contributing factor to Heraklion's submersion. Historical records document several major tsunamis that affected the Egyptian coast, and such events could have caused rapid flooding and structural damage that contributed to the city's abandonment and eventual submersion. The discovery and ongoing excavation of Heraklion has had profound implications for our understanding of ancient Egyptian civilization and Mediterranean trade networks. The site has revealed that ancient Egypt was far more internationally connected and culturally diverse than previously understood. The evidence of Greek influence in the worship of both Egyptian and Greek deities demonstrates a level of cultural integration that challenges traditional views of ancient civilizations as isolated and insular. The technological capabilities revealed by the Heraklion excavations also demonstrate that ancient Egyptian engineering and architecture were even more advanced than previously appreciated. The massive scale of the temple complexes, the sophisticated harbor installations, and the precision of the stonework all point to a civilization with remarkable technical capabilities and organizational skills. Recent advances in underwater archaeological techniques have allowed researchers to explore previously inaccessible areas of the Heraklion site. Remote-operated vehicles equipped with high-definition cameras have documented areas too dangerous for human divers, while advanced sonar systems have mapped the extent of the ruins with unprecedented accuracy. These technological tools continue to reveal new areas of the ancient city and provide additional insights into its layout and construction. The conservation and study of artifacts recovered from Heraklion present unique challenges due to their long submersion in salt water. Specialized conservation techniques have been developed to stabilize and preserve these artifacts for future study and display. The process of removing salt deposits and preventing further deterioration requires careful treatment that can take years to complete for large or complex objects. The Heraklion discovery has also highlighted the potential for additional underwater archaeological sites in the Mediterranean and other regions. The success of the Heraklion excavation has inspired expanded underwater archaeological programs that have led to the discovery of numerous other submerged sites, each contributing to our understanding of ancient civilizations and maritime history. Pavlopetri, Europe's oldest submerged settlement. Our exploration of ancient underwater civilizations now takes us to the waters off the southern coast of Greece, where another remarkable discovery challenges our understanding of early European urban development. Pavlopetri, located in the shallow waters of Vatica Bay near the town of Neapolis in Laconia, represents what many archaeologists believe to be the oldest submerged city in the world, predating other known underwater settlements by thousands of years. The significance of Pavlopetri extends far beyond its age, though that alone makes it an archaeological treasure of immense importance. This Bronze Age settlement, dating back approximately 5,000 years, provides us with an unprecedented window into the daily lives, urban planning concepts, and technological capabilities of Europe's earliest organized civilizations. The site challenges many assumptions about the development of urban centers and demonstrates that sophisticated city planning existed far earlier than previously believed. The discovery of Pavlopetri was first made in 1967 by Nicholas Fleming, a British archaeologist who was conducting a survey of the area's underwater topography. Even from his initial observations, Fleming recognized that the underwater formations he encountered were too regular and organized to be natural geological features. The presence of what appeared to be building foundations, street layouts, and architectural remains suggested the existence of a prehistoric settlement of considerable size and complexity. What makes Pavlopetri particularly remarkable is the exceptional state of preservation found at the site. The settlement's stone foundations, building walls, street networks, and architectural features remain largely intact after thousands of years beneath the Mediterranean waters. This level of preservation is attributed to the site's location in relatively shallow, calm waters, where sedimentation has helped protect the structures from erosion, while the marine environment has prevented the decay that would have destroyed similar structures on land. The layout of Pavlopetri reveals sophisticated urban planning principles that demonstrate the advanced organizational capabilities of its Bronze Age inhabitants. The city is organized around a central plaza or courtyard area, with residential and commercial districts arranged in a logical pattern that maximizes the efficient use of space while providing for necessary infrastructure such as water management and waste disposal systems. Archaeological surveys of Pavlopetri have revealed that the settlement covers an area of approximately 23 acres, making it a substantial urban center by Bronze Age standards. The city includes at least 15 separate building complexes, each consisting of multiple rooms and chambers that suggest different functions, ranging from residential use to storage and commercial activities. The buildings display advanced construction techniques including the use of dressed stone blocks, sophisticated joinery methods, and architectural features that demonstrate both aesthetic and functional considerations. The street system discovered at Pavlopetri provides fascinating insights into ancient urban planning concepts. The streets are laid out in an organized grid pattern that facilitates efficient movement throughout the settlement while dividing the city into distinct districts or neighborhoods. This level of urban planning sophistication suggests that the inhabitants of Pavlopetri possessed advanced understanding of civic organization and community design principles. One of the most intriguing aspects of Pavlopetri is the evidence it provides for Bronze Age water management systems. The settlement includes what appear to be drainage channels, water collection areas, and distribution systems that would have been essential for supporting a concentrated urban population. These water management features demonstrate the engineering capabilities of the settlement's inhabitants and their understanding of the infrastructure requirements necessary for successful urban living. The discovery of large storage areas within the Pavlopetri settlement suggests that the city served as an important economic center for the surrounding region. These storage facilities, with their substantial capacity and sophisticated design, indicate that the settlement was involved in agricultural processing, craft production, or trade activities that required the accumulation and distribution of significant quantities of goods and materials. Archaeological evidence from Pavlopetri indicates that the settlement was continuously occupied for several centuries, with different building phases and architectural modifications that reflect the changing needs and capabilities of its inhabitants over time. This continuous occupation pattern suggests that Pavlopetri was not merely a temporary settlement, but rather a thriving urban center that played an important role in the regional economy and social organization. The pottery fragments and other artifacts recovered from Pavlopetri provide valuable information about the daily lives, cultural practices, and technological capabilities of its Bronze Age inhabitants. The ceramic evidence demonstrates advanced pottery-making techniques and artistic capabilities, while also revealing information about cooking practices, food storage methods, and social customs through the analysis of vessel types and decorative patterns. Recent archaeological investigations at Pavlopetri have employed cutting-edge underwater survey techniques to create detailed three-dimensional maps of the entire settlement. These comprehensive surveys have revealed previously unknown areas of the city and provided new insights into its layout, construction methods, and functional organization. The use of advanced sonar systems and underwater photogrammetry has allowed archaeologists to document the site with unprecedented accuracy and detail. The question of how Pavlopetri became submerged has been the subject of extensive geological and archaeological research. Evidence suggests that the settlement was gradually submerged due to a combination of factors including tectonic activity, sea level changes, and local land subsidence. The region is known to be geologically active, and earthquakes over the centuries could have caused land movements that contributed to the site's submersion. Sea level changes associated with long-term climatic variations may also have played a role in Pavlopetri's submersion. As global sea levels rose following the end of various ice age periods, coastal settlements throughout the Mediterranean region would have been at risk of flooding and eventual abandonment. The gradual nature of this process might explain why the structures at Pavlopetri remain so well preserved, as opposed to sites that were destroyed suddenly by catastrophic events. The discovery and study of Pavlopetri has had significant implications for our understanding of Bronze Age civilization in Europe and the Mediterranean region. The site demonstrates that sophisticated urban planning, advanced construction techniques, and complex social organization existed much earlier than previously believed. This evidence challenges traditional timelines for the development of European civilization and suggests that our ancestors possessed capabilities and knowledge that have been underestimated by conventional archaeological interpretations. The international significance of Pavlopetri has led to its designation as a protected archaeological site, with ongoing conservation efforts aimed at preserving the remains for future research and study. The site faces various threats, including erosion from boat traffic, anchor damage from vessels, and natural deterioration processes that require active management and protection measures. Current research at Pavlopetri continues to reveal new information about Bronze Age life and technology. Ongoing excavations have uncovered additional areas of the settlement, while advanced analytical techniques applied to recovered artifacts are providing new insights into ancient manufacturing processes, trade relationships, and cultural practices. Each season of research adds new pieces to the puzzle of understanding how this remarkable ancient city functioned and why it was eventually abandoned. The preservation techniques being developed for Pavlopetri artifacts are advancing the field of underwater archaeological conservation. The challenges of stabilizing and studying materials that have been submerged for thousands of years require innovative approaches that are contributing to conservation science more broadly. These advances will benefit future underwater archaeological projects and help ensure that important cultural heritage sites can be properly preserved and studied. The Antikythera treasure, ancient technology beyond its time. Our journey through ancient underwater mysteries now brings us to perhaps the most technologically astounding discovery ever recovered from the depths of the Mediterranean Sea. The Antikythera wreck, discovered off the Greek island of Antikythera in 1901, has yielded treasures that continue to challenge our understanding of ancient technological capabilities more than a century after its discovery. While the wreck itself contained numerous valuable artifacts including bronze and marble sculptures, gold jewelry, and luxury goods, it is one particular device recovered from the wreck that has captured the imagination of researchers and the public alike. The Antikythera mechanism, as this device has come to be known, represents perhaps the most sophisticated piece of ancient technology ever discovered. This corroded bronze device, initially overlooked among the more obviously valuable treasures recovered from the wreck, has proven to be an astronomical calculator of incredible complexity and precision that predates similar technological achievements by more than 1,000 years. The implications of this discovery extend far beyond archaeology, touching on the history of science, technology, and human intellectual achievement. The story of the Antikythera wreck begins with sponge divers working in the treacherous waters around the small Greek island. In the spring of 1900, Captain Dimitrios Kondos and his crew of sponge divers were forced to take shelter near Antikythera due to rough weather conditions. While waiting for the weather to improve, one of the divers decided to explore the underwater terrain near the island and made a discovery that would prove to be one of the most significant archaeological finds of the modern era. At a depth of approximately 150 feet, the diver encountered what appeared to be a field of marble and bronze sculptures scattered across the seafloor. Initial reports of naked bronze and marble figures led Greek authorities to believe that an ancient statue workshop had somehow been submerged, but further investigation revealed that these artifacts were actually the cargo of an ancient Roman ship that had sunk approximately 2,000 years earlier. The Antikythera wreck quickly proved to be one of the richest archaeological sites ever discovered in the Mediterranean. The cargo included dozens of marble and bronze sculptures, including works that are now considered masterpieces of ancient art. Bronze sculptures of horses, a philosopher's head, and various mythological figures demonstrated the artistic achievements of ancient Greek and Roman sculptors. Marble sculptures included works that appeared to be copies of famous pieces by renowned ancient artists. Among the luxury goods recovered from the wreck were gold jewelry, silver coins, glass vessels, and ceramic amphorae that had originally contained wine, oil, and other traded commodities. These artifacts provided valuable insights into ancient Mediterranean trade networks and the types of luxury goods that were transported between different regions of the Roman Empire. The diversity and quality of the cargo suggested that this was a high-value shipment intended for wealthy customers in Rome or other major cities. However, it was a corroded, nondescript lump of bronze and wood that would prove to be the most significant discovery from the Antikythera wreck. Initially dismissed as unimportant debris, this artifact was placed in storage at the Greek National Archaeological Museum, where it remained largely ignored for several decades. It was only when the corroded mass began to split apart that researchers realized they were dealing with something far more complex and significant than initially believed. The first serious investigation of what would become known as the Antikythera mechanism was conducted by Greek archaeologist Valerios Steis in 1902. Steis recognized that the corroded artifact contained gear wheels and mechanical components that suggested it was some kind of calculating device, but the technology required to fully understand its function and significance did not exist at the time. For the next several decades, the mechanism remained one of archaeology's most puzzling mysteries. It was not until the 1950s and 60s that researchers began to make serious progress in understanding the Antikythera mechanism. British science historian Derek de Solla Price conducted extensive studies of the device using X-ray photography and other analytical techniques available at the time. Price's research revealed that the mechanism was far more complex than initially believed, containing dozens of precisely crafted bronze gears arranged in sophisticated mechanical relationships. Price's analysis demonstrated that the Antikythera mechanism was designed to calculate and display various astronomical phenomena, including the positions of the sun, moon, and planets, the dates of solar and lunar eclipses, and the timing of various ancient Greek festivals and games. The level of astronomical knowledge and mechanical engineering required to create such a device was thought to be beyond the capabilities of ancient civilizations, leading Price to describe the mechanism as an ancient computer. Modern research techniques have revealed even more astonishing details about the Antikythera mechanism's capabilities and construction. High-resolution CT scanning has allowed researchers to examine the internal structure of the device without damaging the fragile, corroded bronze components. These scans have revealed that the mechanism contains at least 37 bronze gear wheels, with some gears containing as many as 223 teeth, cut with remarkable precision. The gear ratios employed in the Antikythera mechanism demonstrate sophisticated understanding of astronomical cycles and mathematical relationships. The device incorporates gear trains that accurately model the complex orbital relationships between the Earth, Moon, and Sun, including corrections for the elliptical nature of lunar orbits and other astronomical irregularities that were not supposed to be understood until the development of modern astronomy. Recent research has revealed that the Antikythera mechanism could predict solar and lunar eclipses decades in advance, calculate the dates of Olympic Games and other important festivals, and track the positions of known planets with remarkable accuracy. The device included features that compensated for the leap year cycle and other calendar irregularities, demonstrating mathematical and astronomical knowledge that was supposedly not developed until the Renaissance period. The construction techniques employed in creating the Antikythera mechanism reveal advanced metalworking and precision manufacturing capabilities that challenge our understanding of ancient technological capabilities. The gear teeth were cut with remarkable uniformity and precision, requiring tools and techniques that were thought to be beyond ancient manufacturing capabilities. The bronze alloy used in the mechanism's construction was specifically formulated to provide the durability and precision required for accurate mechanical operation. The astronomical knowledge incorporated into the Antikythera mechanism suggests that ancient Greek scientists and engineers possessed understanding of celestial mechanics that was far more advanced than previously believed. The device demonstrates knowledge of the Metonic cycle, the Callipic cycle, and other complex astronomical relationships that require sophisticated observational capabilities and mathematical analysis to understand and predict. The social and economic implications of the Antikythera mechanism are equally significant. The cost and complexity of creating such a device would have made it accessible only to the wealthiest and most educated members of ancient society. This suggests the existence of a sophisticated scientific and technological community capable of designing, manufacturing, and operating complex mechanical devices for astronomical and calendrical purposes. The discovery of the Antikythera mechanism has forced historians of science and technology to reconsider the timeline and development of mechanical engineering and precision manufacturing. The device demonstrates that ancient craftsmen possessed capabilities that were thought to have been developed only during the Renaissance or Industrial Revolution periods. This technological anachronism suggests that human technological development may not have followed the linear progression that conventional history assumes. Recent research has identified fragments of instruction manuals and user guides that were apparently included with the Antikythera mechanism. These texts, inscribed in ancient Greek, provide operating instructions and explain the astronomical principles underlying the device's operation. The existence of such documentation suggests that the mechanism was not a unique prototype, but rather part of a tradition of astronomical instrument manufacturing that may have produced multiple similar devices. The question of who created the Antikythera mechanism remains one of the most intriguing aspects of this discovery. Some researchers have suggested connections to famous ancient scientists and inventors, including Archimedes, Hipparchus, or Apollonius of Perga, all of whom possessed the mathematical and mechanical knowledge that would have been required to design such a device. However, no definitive evidence has been found to attribute the mechanism to any specific individual or workshop. The broader implications of the Antikythera mechanism discovery extend beyond questions of ancient technological capabilities to fundamental issues about the preservation and transmission of knowledge throughout history. If ancient civilizations possess such sophisticated technological capabilities, what other knowledge and achievements may have been lost due to the destruction of ancient libraries, the collapse of educational institutions, and the general decline of scientific learning during various periods of history? Current research on the Antikythera mechanism continues to reveal new details about its construction and capabilities. Advanced imaging techniques, computer modeling, and precision manufacturing technologies are being applied to understand exactly how the device functioned and to create accurate replicas that demonstrate its operational principles. These ongoing studies continue to add to our appreciation of ancient technological achievements and their implications for understanding the development of human scientific and engineering capabilities. The Antikythera mechanism stands as perhaps the most compelling evidence that ancient civilizations possessed technological capabilities and scientific knowledge that far exceeded previous estimates. This remarkable device challenges fundamental assumptions about the linear progression of human technological development and suggests that our ancestors achieved levels of sophistication that were subsequently lost and not recovered for more than a millennium. As we conclude our exploration of these four ancient underwater mysteries, we see a pattern emerging that will continue throughout our journey. Whether we examine controversial stone structures off Japan, magnificent cities beneath the Mediterranean, prehistoric urban settlements, or sophisticated mechanical devices, we find evidence that challenges conventional understanding of human capabilities and historical development. These underwater discoveries suggest that our ancestors possessed knowledge, skills, and achievements that have been underestimated or entirely overlooked by traditional historical narratives. The preservation provided by underwater environments has given us unprecedented access to physical evidence of these ancient achievements, evidence that would have been lost forever if these sites and artifacts had remained on land. As we continue our exploration of underwater mysteries, we will see this pattern repeated again and again, each discovery adding to a growing body of evidence that human civilization may be far older, more sophisticated, and more widespread than conventional wisdom acknowledges. Having explored the ancient mysteries that lie beneath our oceans, we now turn our attention to a different category of underwater enigma: the modern vessels that have vanished without explanation, leaving behind puzzles that continue to perplex investigators decades or even centuries after their disappearance. These maritime mysteries represent some of the most baffling cases in the annals of seafaring history, involving ships and submarines that simply vanished from the face of the earth, often under circumstances that seem to defy logical explanation. Unlike the ancient structures we've examined, these disappearances occurred in the modern era, during periods when maritime communication, navigation technology, and rescue capabilities should have prevented such complete and mysterious vanishings. Yet despite advanced radar systems, radio communications, satellite tracking, and international rescue coordination, these vessels disappeared as completely as if they had never existed, leaving behind only questions and theories that grow more puzzling with each passing year. The MV Joyita, a ship found empty in the Pacific. Our exploration of vanished vessels begins with one of the most perplexing maritime mysteries of the 20th century, the case of the MV Joyita, a merchant vessel that disappeared in the South Pacific in 1955, under circumstances that continue to baffle maritime investigators to this day. The Joyita case represents a perfect example of how modern vessels can vanish completely, only to reappear weeks later in conditions that raise more questions than they answer. The MV Joyita was a 434-ton merchant vessel, originally built in 1924 as a luxury yacht for American railroad magnate Roland Harriman. The ship was constructed to the highest standards of the era, featuring a double-hulled design with watertight compartments that theoretically made her virtually unsinkable under normal circumstances. After serving various roles during World War II, including duty as a patrol vessel for the United States Navy, the Joyita was converted for commercial passenger and cargo service in the South Pacific. On October 5, 1955, the MV Joyita departed from Samoa bound for the Tokelau Islands, a routine voyage that should have taken approximately 2 days to complete. The vessel carried 25 passengers and crew members, along with a cargo of food supplies, building materials, and personal belongings destined for the remote island communities. Captain Thomas Henry Miller, an experienced mariner with extensive knowledge of South Pacific waters, commanded the vessel and anticipated no difficulties with the familiar route. The Joyita was equipped with modern navigation and communication equipment for the 1950s, including radio transmitters that should have allowed the crew to maintain contact with shore stations throughout the voyage. The ship's radio equipment had been recently serviced and was reported to be in excellent working condition at the time of departure. Weather conditions in the region were favorable, with calm seas and clear skies predicted for the duration of the voyage. When the Joyita failed to arrive at her destination as scheduled, initial concern was limited, as delays due to weather or mechanical issues were not uncommon in South Pacific shipping. However, as hours turned to days with no word from the vessel, rescue operations were initiated involving aircraft and ships from New Zealand, the United States, and other regional maritime authorities. The search area was expanded repeatedly, as no trace of the missing vessel was found, despite extensive aerial and surface searches. 5 weeks after the Joyita's disappearance, on November 10, 1955, the merchant vessel Tuvalu spotted a partially submerged hulk drifting approximately 600 miles from the Joyita's planned route. The derelict vessel was identified as the missing MV Joyita, but the condition in which she was found only deepened the mystery surrounding her fate and the disappearance of all 25 souls aboard. The Joyita was discovered listing heavily to port, with her superstructure partially submerged, but the hull still afloat due to her cork-lined compartments that provided additional buoyancy. What immediately struck rescue personnel was the complete absence of any human beings aboard the vessel. Not a single passenger or crew member was found, nor were there any bodies or signs of what had happened to the people who had been aboard when the ship departed Samoa. Equally puzzling was the absence of the Joyita's lifeboats, life rafts, and most of her emergency equipment. The ship had been equipped with sufficient emergency equipment to support all aboard in the event of an emergency, yet none of this equipment remained on the vessel when she was found. This suggested that the abandonment had been planned and orderly, with time taken to deploy emergency equipment and evacuate all personnel. However, several aspects of the scene contradicted the theory of an orderly abandonment. The ship's cargo remained largely intact and undisturbed, with no evidence of looting or hurried evacuation. Personal belongings of passengers and crew were found in their cabins, including valuable items that would not typically be left behind during an emergency evacuation. The ship's safe remained closed and apparently untouched, containing money and documents that would have been important to recover in an emergency situation. Perhaps most mysteriously, the Joyita's logbook was missing, along with all navigational charts and radio equipment. The absence of these items suggested either that they had been deliberately removed or that some catastrophic event had destroyed the ship's bridge area where these items would normally be stored. However, examination of the bridge revealed no evidence of fire, explosion, or other damage that would explain the disappearance of these crucial items. The physical condition of the Joyita provided few clues about what had caused her abandonment. The vessel showed evidence of having taken on water, which explained her heavy list and partially submerged condition, but the source of this flooding could not be definitively determined. Some damage to the hull was observed, but whether this damage had occurred before, during, or after the abandonment could not be established with certainty. The engine room examination revealed that the Joyita's engines had been shut down properly, suggesting that the abandonment had not been the result of a sudden catastrophic failure. The fuel tanks contained sufficient fuel for the planned voyage, and there was no evidence of mechanical problems that would have necessitated abandoning the vessel. The electrical systems showed signs of water damage, but this appeared to be the result of flooding rather than the cause of any emergency. Investigation of the Joyita's radio equipment revealed that the transmitters had been removed or destroyed, eliminating any possibility of determining whether distress calls had been sent or received. This destruction of communication equipment was particularly puzzling, as it suggested either deliberate sabotage or some catastrophic event that specifically targeted the ship's ability to communicate with the outside world. The official investigation into the Joyita incident, conducted by New Zealand maritime authorities, concluded that the vessel had probably suffered some form of hull damage that caused progressive flooding, forcing the crew and passengers to abandon ship in the available lifeboats and life rafts. However, this conclusion failed to explain many of the puzzling aspects of the case, including the missing logbooks and navigation equipment, the orderly condition of the ship's interior, and the complete disappearance of all 25 people who had been aboard. Alternative theories proposed to explain the Joyita mystery have ranged from piracy to mutiny to encounter with unidentified phenomena. The piracy theory suggests that the vessel may have been attacked by criminals who murdered or kidnapped the passengers and crew while stealing valuable cargo and equipment. However, this theory fails to explain why valuable cargo and personal belongings were left undisturbed aboard the vessel. The mutiny theory proposes that the crew may have murdered the passengers and captain before abandoning the ship with stolen cargo and equipment. This theory would explain the missing radio equipment and logbooks, which might have contained evidence of the crime, but it fails to explain why the perpetrators would have abandoned a seaworthy vessel that could have been sold for considerable profit. More exotic theories have suggested that the Joyita may have encountered some form of unidentified phenomena that caused the mysterious disappearance of all aboard. These theories point to the vessel's location in an area of the Pacific Ocean where other unexplained disappearances have been reported, and suggest that conventional explanations may be inadequate to account for the strange circumstances surrounding the case. The fate of the 25 people who disappeared from the MV Joyita remains one of the South Pacific's most enduring mysteries. Despite extensive searches of the surrounding ocean areas and islands, no trace of the missing passengers and crew has ever been found. No bodies, debris from lifeboats, or personal effects have been recovered, despite the fact that the prevailing currents and winds should have carried any floating debris to inhabited islands where it would likely have been discovered. The Joyita case has become a classic example of maritime mysteries that seem to defy rational explanation. The combination of the vessel's seaworthy condition, the complete disappearance of all personnel, the missing equipment and records, and the absence of any trace of the evacuated people creates a puzzle that has resisted solution for nearly 70 years. The ARA San Juan modern submarine mystery. From the surface vessels of the 1950s our investigation moves forward in time to examine one of the most extensive and technically sophisticated searches in maritime history: the hunt for the Argentine submarine ARA San Juan, which disappeared in the South Atlantic Ocean in November 2017 with 44 crew members aboard. This case demonstrates that even in the modern era of satellite communications, GPS navigation, and international rescue coordination, submarines can still vanish completely, leaving behind mysteries that challenge our understanding of underwater safety and rescue capabilities. The ARA San Juan was a German-built TR-1700 class diesel-electric submarine that had served in the Argentine Navy for over 30 years. The submarine was considered one of the most capable vessels in the Argentine fleet, with modern sonar systems, advanced navigation equipment, and experienced crew members who were thoroughly familiar with South Atlantic operations. The vessel had recently completed a maintenance period and was reported to be in excellent mechanical condition when she departed for what should have been a routine patrol mission. On November 15, 2017, the ARA San Juan departed from Ushuaia, Argentina's southernmost naval base, bound for her home port of Mar del Plata on Argentina's Atlantic coast. The submarine carried a crew of 44 personnel, including both experienced veterans and newer crew members, who were gaining operational experience aboard one of Argentina's most capable underwater vessels. The planned voyage should have taken approximately 7 days to complete under normal circumstances. The submarine's mission profile included routine patrol operations in Argentine territorial waters, training exercises for crew members, and weapon systems testing that were standard procedures for maintaining operational readiness. The ARA San Juan was equipped with modern communications equipment that allowed regular contact with naval headquarters, and strict protocols required scheduled radio check-ins at predetermined intervals throughout the voyage. Initial communications with the ARA San Juan proceeded normally, with the submarine reporting her position and status as scheduled during the first days of the voyage. The submarine's crew reported no mechanical problems, no unusual weather conditions, and no concerns about their operational status. All communications indicated that the vessel was proceeding according to plan and expected to arrive at Mar del Plata on schedule. On November 15, 2017, the ARA San Juan reported what appeared to be a minor electrical problem related to the submarine's battery system. The crew indicated that they were addressing the issue and did not request assistance or express any significant concern about the problem. This was the last official communication received from the submarine, and subsequent attempts to establish contact were unsuccessful. When the ARA San Juan failed to arrive at Mar del Plata as scheduled and could not be contacted by radio, Argentine naval authorities initiated search and rescue operations that would eventually become one of the largest international maritime search efforts in modern history. The initial search focused on the submarine's planned route and areas where mechanical problems might have forced the vessel to surface or seek shelter. As days passed without any trace of the missing submarine, the search area was expanded dramatically to cover thousands of square miles of South Atlantic Ocean. International assistance was requested and provided by numerous countries, including the United States, Great Britain, Chile, Brazil, and others, who contributed ships, aircraft, and specialized submarine rescue equipment to the search effort. The search for the ARA San Juan involved the most advanced underwater detection technology available, including sophisticated sonar systems, deep-sea search vehicles, and acoustic monitoring networks that could detect sounds from submerged submarines across vast distances. Satellite imagery was analyzed for any signs of the submarine on the surface, while oceanographic data was studied to predict where debris might drift if the submarine had been lost. Despite the massive scale and technological sophistication of the search effort, no trace of the ARA San Juan was found during the initial rescue phase. The submarine had simply vanished completely, leaving no debris, no oil slicks, no emergency signals, and no indication of what had happened to the vessel and her 44 crew members. This complete absence of evidence was particularly puzzling given the submarine's modern safety equipment and multiple redundant communication systems. Weeks after the submarine's disappearance, acoustic monitoring stations detected what appeared to be an underwater explosion in the South Atlantic Ocean, occurring at approximately the time when the ARA San Juan would have been in the area. This acoustic signature suggested that the submarine may have suffered a catastrophic failure that resulted in the vessel's destruction, but the location of the explosion could not be determined with sufficient precision to guide search efforts. The detection of the acoustic anomaly provided the first clue about the possible fate of the ARA San Juan, but it also raised additional questions about what could have caused such a catastrophic failure aboard a well-maintained submarine with an experienced crew. Submarine disasters typically result from specific mechanical failures, flooding events, or operational accidents that leave some evidence of the cause, but the complete disappearance of the ARA San Juan provided no such clues. Analysis of the submarine's maintenance records, crew training files, and operational history revealed no obvious factors that would have predisposed the vessel to catastrophic failure. The submarine had recently completed extensive maintenance work. Her crew was experienced and well-trained, and weather conditions in the operating area were within normal parameters for submarine operations. This absence of obvious contributing factors made the disappearance even more mysterious. International experts in submarine design, operations, and safety were consulted to develop theories about what might have happened to the ARA San Juan. Various scenarios were proposed, including catastrophic flooding, explosion of the submarine's batteries, collision with an underwater obstacle, and structural failure due to unknown factors. However, none of these theories could fully explain the complete disappearance of the submarine without any evidence or debris. More than a year after the ARA San Juan's disappearance, the submarine's wreckage was finally located on the ocean floor at a depth of over 2,600 feet, approximately 270 miles from the submarine's last known position. The discovery of the wreckage provided closure for the families of the lost crew members, but also revealed the extent of the damage that had destroyed the submarine. The condition of the ARA San Juan's wreckage indicated that the submarine had suffered a catastrophic implosion that destroyed the vessel's hull and killed all aboard instantly. The damage was consistent with the submarine having exceeded her maximum operating depth, causing the pressure hull to collapse under the enormous pressure of the deep ocean. However, the cause of the initial incident that led to this depth excursion remained unclear. Investigation of the wreckage revealed that the submarine's hull had been completely destroyed by the implosion, making it impossible to determine what had caused the initial emergency that led to the submarine's loss. The recovery of debris and examination of accessible sections of the wreckage provided some information about the submarine's final moments, but many questions about the cause of the disaster remained unanswered. The loss of the ARA San Juan highlighted vulnerabilities in submarine safety systems that persist even with modern technology and training. The incident demonstrated that submarines remain inherently dangerous vessels operating in an unforgiving environment where small problems can quickly escalate into catastrophic failures. The complete loss of communication and the submarine's inability to surface or signal for help illustrated the challenges of submarine rescue operations. The international search effort for the ARA San Juan also revealed both the capabilities and limitations of modern maritime search and rescue technology. While advanced sonar systems and underwater vehicles eventually located the submarine's wreckage, the initial search was hampered by the vast area that needed to be covered and the extreme depths at which the submarine was ultimately found. The ARA San Juan case serves as a sobering reminder that even in the modern era of advanced technology and international cooperation, submarines can still vanish without warning, taking their crews with them into the depths. The incident has led to renewed focus on submarine safety systems, emergency communication procedures, and search and rescue capabilities for underwater vessels. The Mary Celeste, maritime's most enduring ghost ship mystery. Our journey through maritime mysteries now takes us back to the 19th century to examine perhaps the most famous ghost ship case in maritime history. The Mary Celeste, discovered abandoned and adrift in the Atlantic Ocean in 1872 under circumstances so mysterious that they continue to generate theories and speculation more than 150 years later. The Mary Celeste case has become the archetypal ghost ship story, establishing many of the elements that would become associated with unexplained vessel abandonment mysteries. The Mary Celeste was a 282-ton merchant brigantine built in Nova Scotia in 1861, originally named the Amazon. The vessel had experienced several changes of ownership and name before being purchased by New York shipping merchant James Winchester in 1869 and renamed the Mary Celeste. The ship was engaged in transatlantic trade, carrying various cargoes between American and European ports under the command of experienced merchant marine officers. On November 7, 1872, the Mary Celeste departed New York Harbor bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of 1,700 barrels of denatured alcohol intended for use in fortifying wine. The vessel was commanded by Captain Benjamin Briggs, an experienced and respected mariner who owned a share in the ship and had brought his wife Sarah and 2-year-old daughter Sophia along for the voyage. The crew consisted of 7 experienced seamen, making the total complement 10 people aboard the vessel. Captain Briggs was known as a competent and careful commander who maintained detailed logs and followed established maritime procedures. The Mary Celeste was well provisioned for the Atlantic crossing, with sufficient food, water, and supplies for several months at sea. The cargo of alcohol was properly stored and secured, and the vessel's condition was reported as seaworthy and ready for the ocean voyage. The Mary Celeste's voyage proceeded normally for the first several weeks, with the vessel making good progress across the Atlantic despite typical autumn weather conditions. Captain Briggs maintained regular entries in the ship's log, recording daily positions, weather observations, and routine maritime activities. The final log entry was made on November 25, 1872, when the ship was approximately 100 miles west of Portugal, with no indication of any problems or concerns. On December 5, 1872, the British merchant vessel DEI Gracia encountered a ship sailing erratically between Spain and Portugal in the Atlantic Ocean. Captain David Morehouse of the DEI Gracia recognized the vessel as the Mary Celeste, which had departed New York just days before his own ship. However, when Morehouse attempted to signal the Mary Celeste, there was no response from the apparently unmanned vessel. Concerned about the Mary Celeste's erratic sailing pattern and lack of response to signals, Captain Morehouse ordered his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, to take a small boat and board the apparently abandoned vessel to investigate. What DeVoe and his boarding party discovered aboard the Mary Celeste would become one of maritime history's most enduring mysteries and the subject of countless theories and speculation. The Mary Celeste was found to be completely abandoned, with no sign of Captain Briggs, his family, or any of the 7 crew members who had been aboard when the vessel departed New York. The ship was seaworthy and sailing under reduced canvas, but no human beings were present anywhere aboard the vessel. The absence of any people, living or dead, immediately established this as something far more mysterious than a typical maritime disaster. The condition of the Mary Celeste when discovered was particularly puzzling because it suggested that the abandonment had been both sudden and orderly. The ship's cargo was intact and properly secured, with no evidence of violence, piracy, or hasty evacuation. Personal belongings remained in the crew's quarters, including valuable items that would not typically be left behind during an emergency abandonment. The galley showed evidence of recent meal preparation, with food and utensils arranged as if the cook had been interrupted in the middle of preparing a meal. Most mysteriously, the ship's only lifeboat was missing, along with the navigation instruments and ship's papers. This suggested that the abandonment had been deliberate and planned, with time taken to gather essential navigation equipment and launch the lifeboat properly. However, the absence of any obvious emergency that would necessitate such an abandonment made this theory difficult to accept. The cargo of alcohol barrels was found to be largely intact, though several barrels showed evidence of leakage and 9 barrels were found to be empty. Some investigators have theorized that alcohol fumes might have created a perceived explosion risk that panicked the crew into abandoning ship, but this theory fails to explain why experienced sailors would have abandoned a seaworthy vessel for the far greater dangers of an open lifeboat in the Atlantic Ocean. The ship's water supply was found to be running low, with only a few days' worth of fresh water remaining in the tanks. However, this would not have constituted an immediate emergency, as the Mary Celeste was approaching European waters where fresh water could have been obtained. The low water supply suggested that the abandonment had occurred several days before the ship was discovered, but provided no clues about why the crew would have left the vessel. Captain Morehouse faced a difficult decision upon discovering the abandoned Mary Celeste. Maritime law entitled him to claim salvage rights to the vessel and her cargo, but he also had responsibilities to attempt to determine what had happened to the missing people and to report the incident to appropriate authorities. Morehouse decided to place a crew aboard the Mary Celeste and sail both vessels to Gibraltar, where British maritime authorities could conduct a proper investigation. The subsequent investigation of the Mary Celeste case by British maritime authorities in Gibraltar was thorough but failed to provide any definitive explanation for the mysterious abandonment. The ship was examined for evidence of violence, piracy, or mechanical failure, but no such evidence was found. The cargo was inspected for signs of explosion or dangerous chemical reactions, but the alcohol was found to be stable and properly contained. The absence of the ship's papers and logbooks made it impossible to determine the vessel's exact movements or activities in the days leading up to the abandonment. Without these crucial documents, investigators could only speculate about what might have prompted the crew to leave the vessel. The missing navigation instruments suggested that whoever abandoned the ship had taken equipment necessary for survival in a lifeboat, but no trace of the boat or its occupants was ever found. Various theories were proposed to explain the Mary Celeste mystery, ranging from mutiny and murder to piracy and insurance fraud. The mutiny theory suggested that the crew had killed Captain Briggs and his family before abandoning the ship, but this failed to explain why the mutineers would have left behind a valuable vessel and cargo. The piracy theory proposed that the ship had been attacked by criminals who murdered everyone aboard, but there was no evidence of violence or theft. The insurance fraud theory suggested that Captain Briggs had conspired with the owner of the DEI Gracia to stage the abandonment and split the salvage money, but investigation revealed no evidence of such a conspiracy, and both captains were known as honest and reputable mariners. The theory also failed to explain what had happened to Briggs's wife and daughter, who would not have been willing participants in such a scheme. More exotic theories have proposed supernatural explanations for the Mary Celeste mystery, including encounters with sea monsters, alien abduction, or passage through some form of dimensional portal. While such theories capture the imagination, they lack any supporting evidence and fail to provide credible explanations for the physical evidence found aboard the abandoned vessel. The most widely accepted theory among maritime historians is that the crew abandoned the Mary Celeste due to a perceived but not actual emergency, possibly related to the cargo of alcohol. According to this theory, alcohol vapors or minor explosions might have created the impression that the ship was in immediate danger of a catastrophic explosion, prompting the crew to launch the lifeboat as a temporary safety measure. The theory suggests that the crew intended to return to the ship once the perceived danger had passed, but were prevented from doing so by weather, currents, or mechanical problems with the lifeboat. However, even this most accepted theory fails to adequately explain all aspects of the Mary Celeste mystery. Experienced sailors would have been familiar with alcohol cargoes and the associated risks, making it unlikely that they would have panicked and abandoned a seaworthy vessel without clear evidence of imminent danger. The orderly condition of the ship and the absence of any signs of panic or hasty evacuation also contradict the theory of an emergency abandonment. The fate of the 10 people who were aboard the Mary Celeste remains unknown despite extensive searches and investigations. No trace of the missing lifeboat, crew members, or passengers has ever been found, despite the fact that the abandonment occurred in well-traveled shipping lanes where debris or survivors might reasonably have been expected to be discovered. The complete disappearance of all 10 people adds another layer of mystery to an already puzzling case. The Mary Celeste case has inspired countless books, articles, films, and theories over the past century and a half, establishing it as perhaps the most famous maritime mystery in history. The case has become the prototype for ghost ship stories and has influenced popular culture's perception of abandoned vessels and unexplained disappearances at sea. Modern analysis of the Mary Celeste case using contemporary maritime safety knowledge and accident investigation techniques has failed to provide any more definitive explanation than was available to 19th century investigators. The fundamental mystery of why experienced sailors would abandon a seaworthy vessel under apparently normal conditions remains as puzzling today as it was when the ship was first discovered, drifting empty in the Atlantic Ocean. The USS Cyclops vanished in the Triangle. From 19th century merchant vessels, our investigation now moves to one of the most famous disappearances in maritime history, the case of the USS Cyclops, a massive United States Navy cargo ship that vanished without trace in the Bermuda Triangle in March 1918, taking with her 306 crew members and passengers. The Cyclops case has become one of the most cited examples of mysterious disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle and continues to generate theories and speculation more than a century after the vessel's disappearance. The USS Cyclops was a Proteus-class naval cargo ship commissioned by the United States Navy in 1910. At 522 feet in length and weighing over 19,000 tons when fully loaded, the Cyclops was one of the largest cargo vessels in the American fleet and was specifically designed to transport bulk materials such as coal, ore, and other heavy cargoes. The ship was powered by a single steam engine and was considered a reliable and seaworthy vessel, despite some known mechanical quirks. The Cyclops was commanded by Lieutenant Commander George Worley, a German-born naturalized American citizen who had served in the Merchant Marine before joining the United States Navy. Commander Worley was known as an experienced mariner, though some crew members reported that he could be eccentric in his behavior and demanding in his command style. The ship's crew consisted of experienced naval personnel and civilian specialists who were familiar with the vessel's operations and cargo handling requirements. In February 1918, the USS Cyclops was dispatched to Barbados to load a cargo of manganese ore destined for steel production facilities in the United States. Manganese was a critical material for steel manufacturing and was essential for the American war effort during World War I. The cargo was considered routine for the Cyclops, though the density of manganese ore meant that the ship would be heavily loaded for the return voyage to the United States. The loading of manganese ore in Barbados proceeded normally, with the Cyclops taking on approximately 11,000 tons of the mineral. This represented a full cargo load for the vessel and brought her total displacement to near maximum capacity. The ore was properly distributed throughout the ship's cargo holds to maintain stability and ensure safe sailing characteristics during the Atlantic crossing. On March 4, 1918, the USS Cyclops departed Barbados bound for Baltimore, Maryland, where the manganese ore was to be delivered to steel production facilities. The voyage should have taken approximately 5 days under normal conditions, following established shipping routes through the western Atlantic. Weather conditions were reported as favorable, with no storms or unusual atmospheric conditions predicted for the voyage. The Cyclops made a brief stop in Barbados for additional supplies and fuel, departing for the final time on March 9, 1918. This was the last confirmed sighting of the vessel, as she proceeded north into the Atlantic Ocean on what should have been a routine cargo delivery voyage. The ship was well provisioned and mechanically sound, with no reported problems that would have caused concern about the voyage. When the USS Cyclops failed to arrive in Baltimore as scheduled, initial concern was limited due to the possibility of weather delays or mechanical problems that might require the ship to reduce speed or seek shelter. However, as days passed without any communication from the vessel, the United States Navy began to suspect that something serious had happened to the ship and her crew. The Navy initiated search operations that covered the Cyclops' planned route and expanded to include areas where the ship might have been blown off course by weather or forced to divert due to mechanical problems. Multiple naval vessels and aircraft were deployed in the search effort, which covered thousands of square miles of Atlantic Ocean between Barbados and the American coast. Despite extensive search efforts, no trace of the USS Cyclops was ever found. The ship had simply vanished completely, leaving no debris, no oil slicks, no distress signals, and no indication of what had happened to the vessel and her 306 crew members and passengers. This complete disappearance was particularly puzzling given the ship's size and the amount of debris that should have been produced if the vessel had sunk due to storm damage or other conventional causes. The disappearance of the USS Cyclops occurred during World War I, leading to initial speculation that the ship might have been attacked by German submarines operating in the Atlantic. However, examination of German naval records after the war revealed no evidence that any German submarine had encountered or attacked the Cyclops. The lack of any distress signals or debris also made enemy action an unlikely explanation for the disappearance. Investigation of the Cyclops' cargo and loading procedures revealed that the ship had been carrying a full load of manganese ore that brought her close to maximum displacement. Some maritime experts have theorized that improper loading or shifting of this heavy cargo might have caused stability problems that could have led to the ship's loss. However, the crew was experienced in handling such cargoes, and proper loading procedures were reported to have been followed. The USS Cyclops was known to have some mechanical problems, particularly with her engines, which had required repairs and maintenance on previous voyages. Some investigators have suggested that engine failure might have left the ship dead in the water and vulnerable to weather conditions that could have overwhelmed the vessel. However, engine failure alone would not typically cause a ship to disappear completely without any opportunity to send distress signals or launch lifeboats. Weather conditions in the Atlantic during March 1918 were generally favorable, with no major storms reported in the area where the Cyclops would have been traveling. However, sudden storms or unusual weather phenomena could potentially have overwhelmed even a large vessel like the Cyclops, particularly if the ship was already experiencing mechanical problems or stability issues related to her heavy cargo. The location of the Cyclops' disappearance in what would later become known as the Bermuda Triangle has made the case a favorite subject for theories involving supernatural or extraterrestrial explanations. Proponents of Bermuda Triangle theories point to the Cyclops case as evidence of mysterious forces operating in the region that can cause ships and aircraft to vanish without explanation. However, such theories lack scientific support and fail to provide credible explanations for the physical disappearance of such a large vessel. More conventional theories for the Cyclops' disappearance have focused on the possibility of structural failure due to the stress of carrying an unusually heavy cargo. The ship's single-engine design meant that propeller shaft problems could cause severe vibrations that might lead to hull damage or structural failure. Some experts have suggested that such mechanical problems, combined with heavy seas, could have caused the ship to break apart and sink rapidly. The complete absence of any debris or survivors from the USS Cyclops remains one of the most puzzling aspects of the case. Even if the ship had sunk rapidly due to structural failure or collision, some debris, lifeboats, or personal effects should have been recovered given the extensive search efforts and the well-traveled nature of the shipping routes in the area. The lack of any physical evidence has contributed to the enduring mystery surrounding the vessel's fate. Recent oceanographic research has suggested that the area where the Cyclops disappeared may be subject to unusual underwater geological activity, including methane gas eruptions from the ocean floor that could potentially affect a ship's buoyancy. However, such phenomena would be extremely rare and would still be expected to leave some debris or evidence of the ship's destruction. The loss of the USS Cyclops represented one of the largest non-combat maritime disasters in United States Navy history, with the loss of over 300 lives making it a tragedy of enormous proportions. The complete absence of any explanation for the disappearance has made the case a subject of ongoing speculation and investigation, with new theories continuing to emerge more than a century after the ship's disappearance. The SS Waratah, Africa's Titanic mystery. Our exploration of vanished vessels now takes us to the waters off South Africa to examine the case of the SS Waratah, a passenger steamship that disappeared in July 1909 while en route from Durban to Cape Town with 211 passengers and crew aboard. The Waratah case has been called South Africa's Titanic due to the complete disappearance of the vessel and the mystery surrounding her fate, which has generated theories and search efforts that continue to this day. The SS Waratah was a passenger and cargo steamship built by Barclay, Curle and Company in Glasgow, Scotland, and launched in 1908. The vessel was designed for service on the route between Britain and South Africa, carrying passengers, mail, and cargo between the two regions. At 465 feet in length and displacing over 9,000 tons, the Waratah was a substantial vessel by the standards of her era and was equipped with modern safety equipment and navigation systems. The ship was operated by the Blue Anchor Line and was considered a comfortable and reliable vessel for the long voyage between Europe and South Africa. The Waratah featured passenger accommodations for various classes of service, cargo holds for commercial freight, and facilities for carrying mail and other valuable items. The vessel was commanded by experienced officers who were familiar with the challenging conditions often encountered in South African waters. Captain Joshua Ilbery commanded the SS Waratah and was regarded as a competent and experienced mariner with extensive knowledge of South African coastal waters. The ship's crew consisted of trained merchant marine personnel who were familiar with the vessel's operations and the requirements of passenger service. The ship's safety equipment included lifeboats, life preservers, and distress signaling equipment that met or exceeded the maritime safety standards of the era. On July 26, 1909, the SS Waratah departed Durban, South Africa, bound for Cape Town with 211 passengers and crew members aboard. The voyage should have taken approximately 2 days under normal conditions, following the established coastal route that was regularly used by passenger and cargo vessels traveling between South African ports. Weather conditions were reported as generally favorable for the voyage. The passenger manifest for the Waratah's final voyage included a diverse group of travelers, including families returning to Britain, business travelers, and tourists who had been visiting South Africa. The crew included experienced officers and seamen who were familiar with the vessel and the route. Cargo included typical items for the South African trade, including wool, hides, and other commercial products. The Waratah was last sighted by other vessels on July 27, 1909, approximately 150 miles northeast of East London, South Africa. The ship appeared to be proceeding normally along her planned route, with no visible signs of distress or difficulty. This was the final confirmed sighting of the vessel, as subsequent efforts to locate or communicate with the Waratah proved unsuccessful. When the SS Waratah failed to arrive in Cape Town as scheduled on July 29, 1909, initial concern was moderate, as delays due to weather or mechanical issues were not uncommon in maritime travel of the era. However, as hours turned to days with no word from the missing vessel, alarm grew among shipping officials and the families of passengers and crew members aboard the ship. The Blue Anchor Line initiated search operations that quickly expanded to involve multiple vessels, and eventually government resources from both South Africa and Britain. The search area covered the coastal waters between Durban and Cape Town, focusing initially on the ship's planned route, but expanding to include areas where weather or mechanical problems might have forced the vessel to seek shelter or assistance. Despite extensive search efforts involving dozens of ships and lasting several months, no trace of the SS Waratah was ever found. The vessel had simply vanished completely, leaving no debris, no lifeboats, no personal effects, and no indication of what had happened to the ship and her 211 passengers and crew members. This complete disappearance was particularly puzzling given the vessel's size and the amount of debris that should have been produced if the ship had been wrecked in the relatively shallow coastal waters where she was traveling. The absence of any distress signals or emergency communications from the Waratah added to the mystery surrounding her disappearance. The ship was equipped with wireless telegraph equipment that should have allowed the crew to send distress calls if the vessel had encountered serious problems. The lack of any such communications suggested either that the ship had been lost suddenly without warning, or that some catastrophic event had disabled the vessel's communication systems before distress signals could be transmitted. Investigation into the Waratah's design and construction revealed some potential stability issues that might have contributed to her loss. The ship had been designed with a relatively high center of gravity due to her passenger accommodations and superstructure, which could potentially have made her vulnerable to extreme weather conditions or cargo shifting. Some maritime experts suggested that these design characteristics might have made the vessel prone to capsizing under certain circumstances. The cargo manifest for the Waratah's final voyage included heavy items such as lead and other dense materials that were stowed in the ship's lower holds. Some investigators theorized that improper loading or shifting of this cargo might have affected the vessel's stability, particularly if the ship encountered rough weather conditions. However, the crew was experienced in cargo handling procedures, and there was no evidence of improper loading practices. Weather conditions off the South African coast during late July 1909 were generally favorable, though the region is known for sudden storms and rough seas that can develop rapidly. The Agulhas Current, which flows along the South African coast, can create dangerous conditions when it interacts with opposing winds, potentially generating waves large enough to overwhelm even substantial vessels like the Waratah. The search for the SS Waratah became one of the most extensive maritime rescue operations of the early 20th century, involving government vessels, commercial ships, and even early aircraft in attempts to locate the missing vessel. The search efforts covered thousands of square miles of ocean and continued intermittently for several years, but no conclusive evidence of the ship's fate was ever discovered. Several false leads and potential discoveries emerged during the search efforts, including reports of debris, lifeboats, and even alleged survivor sightings, but none of these leads proved to be connected to the missing Waratah. The lack of any authentic physical evidence continued to fuel speculation about what had happened to the vessel and whether any passengers or crew members might have survived the initial disaster. The disappearance of the SS Waratah had significant implications for maritime safety regulations and ship design standards. The complete loss of such a modern vessel with all hands led to increased scrutiny of passenger ship design, stability requirements, and safety equipment standards. The case contributed to the development of improved maritime safety protocols that would later be incorporated into international shipping regulations. Theories proposed to explain the Waratah's disappearance have ranged from structural failure and capsizing to collision with underwater obstacles or attack by hostile forces. The structural failure theory suggests that design flaws or construction defects might have caused the ship to break apart in heavy weather, while the capsizing theory proposes that stability problems led to the vessel rolling over and sinking rapidly. More exotic theories have suggested that the Waratah might have encountered unusual weather phenomena, such as rogue waves or unexpected atmospheric conditions, that overwhelmed the vessel's design capabilities. Some researchers have proposed that the interaction between the Agulhas current and severe weather might have created conditions that were beyond the ship's ability to survive. Modern search efforts using advanced underwater detection technology have attempted to locate the Waratah's wreckage on the South African continental shelf. These efforts have identified several potential wreck sites, but none have been conclusively identified as the remains of the missing passenger ship. The depth and challenging conditions in the search area have made comprehensive exploration difficult and expensive. Recent oceanographic research has revealed that the waters off South Africa, where the Waratah disappeared, are subject to complex current patterns and underwater geological activity that could potentially affect shipping. The region includes underwater canyons, steep continental shelf drops, and areas of unstable sediment that might have contributed to the ship's loss or made wreckage recovery difficult. The SS Waratah case remains one of the most significant unsolved maritime mysteries of the modern era, with the complete disappearance of a large passenger vessel and all aboard continuing to puzzle investigators more than a century later. The case has inspired numerous books, documentaries, and research expeditions, but the fundamental question of what happened to the ship and her passengers and crew remains unanswered. The Kaz II, ghost yacht of the 21st century. Our final exploration of vanished vessel mysteries brings us into the 21st century with the case of the Kaz II, a catamaran yacht found drifting empty off the coast of Australia in April 2007, under circumstances that have made it one of the most puzzling maritime mysteries of the modern era. The Kaz II case demonstrates that even in an age of satellite communications, GPS navigation, and comprehensive maritime surveillance, vessels can still be found abandoned under conditions that defy explanation. The Kaz II was a 9.5-meter catamaran yacht owned by Derek Batten, a 70-year-old experienced sailor from Perth, Western Australia. Batten had planned a leisurely sailing trip along the Australian coast with two friends, Peter Tunstead, age 69, and James Tunstead, age 63, both experienced recreational sailors who were familiar with coastal sailing conditions. The three men had planned a relaxing voyage that would take them along Australia's western coast, enjoying the sailing and fishing opportunities offered by the region's waters. On April 15, 2007, the Kaz II departed from Minderry Marina near Perth, Western Australia, bound for the town of Geraldton, approximately 200 miles north along the coast. The voyage was planned as a leisurely cruise with stops at various coastal locations for fishing and sightseeing. Weather conditions were favorable for sailing, and the three men aboard were experienced enough to handle any normal challenges that might arise during the coastal voyage. The Kaz II was equipped with modern safety and communication equipment appropriate for coastal sailing, including life jackets, emergency flares, radio communications, and basic navigation equipment. The yacht was in good mechanical condition and had been properly prepared for the planned voyage. The three men aboard had sufficient experience with the vessel and coastal sailing to handle typical sailing conditions safely. 3 days after departure, on April 18, 2007, the Kaz II was spotted by a helicopter crew conducting routine coastal patrols near the town of Geraldton. The helicopter crew noticed that the yacht appeared to be sailing normally, but observed no people visible on deck, which seemed unusual for a vessel under sail in coastal waters. However, the yacht's apparently normal sailing behavior initially suggested that the crew might simply be below deck or out of sight. When the Kaz II was observed again several hours later still sailing unmanned, concerns grew about the welfare of the people who should have been aboard the vessel. The yacht appeared to be sailing under automatic pilot or wind vane steering, maintaining a steady course without any visible human intervention. This autonomous sailing behavior continued for several more hours, raising alarms among maritime authorities about the fate of the yacht's crew. Australian Maritime Rescue Authorities dispatched patrol vessels to intercept and board the Cause 2 to determine what had happened to the 3 men who should have been aboard. The rescue operation was complicated by the yacht's continued sailing behavior, which made it necessary to carefully approach and board the vessel while it was still underway in open water. When rescue personnel finally boarded the Cause 2, they discovered a scene that was both puzzling and disturbing. The yacht was completely empty of human occupants, with no sign of the 3 men who had departed from Perth just days earlier. The absence of any people, living or dead, immediately established this as something far more mysterious than a typical maritime accident or emergency situation. The condition of the Cause 2 when found was particularly baffling because it suggested that the abandonment had been both sudden and recent. The yacht's systems were operating normally, with the engine in working order, fuel tanks full, and navigation equipment functioning properly. The vessel showed no signs of damage, flooding, or mechanical failure that would have necessitated abandoning the yacht in favor of life rafts or rescue vessels. Personal belongings of the 3 men remained aboard the yacht, including clothing, food, and valuable items that would not typically be left behind during an emergency evacuation. The yacht's galley contained food that appeared to have been recently prepared, and personal items were arranged as if the crew had simply stepped away momentarily and planned to return shortly. Most mysteriously, the yacht's emergency equipment remained aboard and unused. Life jackets were found in their storage locations, emergency flares had not been deployed, and the yacht's life raft remained in its storage compartment. This suggested that whatever had happened to the 3 men had not involved a conventional maritime emergency that would have prompted the use of safety equipment. The yacht's radio and communication equipment were found to be in working order, with no evidence that distress calls had been attempted or that the crew had tried to communicate their situation to shore authorities. The absence of any distress communications was particularly puzzling, as experienced sailors would normally attempt to radio for help if they encountered serious problems that threatened their safety. Investigation of the yacht's logbook and navigation equipment revealed that the Cause 2 had been following her planned route normally until the point when the crew disappeared. GPS data showed that the yacht had maintained a steady course consistent with the planned voyage, with no indication of navigational problems, course deviations, or attempts to reach shore or seek assistance. The timing of the crew's disappearance was difficult to establish precisely, but evidence suggested that the men had been absent from the yacht for at least several hours and possibly as long as a day before the vessel was discovered. The yacht's automatic steering systems had apparently maintained course during this entire period, allowing the unmanned vessel to continue sailing normally despite the absence of any human control. Weather conditions in the area where the Cause 2 was found had been generally favorable during the period when the crew disappeared, with moderate winds and seas that should not have posed unusual challenges for experienced sailors. There was no evidence of severe weather, equipment failure, or other environmental factors that might have created emergency conditions requiring the crew to abandon the yacht. The search for the 3 missing men expanded to cover a large area of ocean and coastline, where they might have ended up if they had somehow left the yacht voluntarily or been swept overboard. Multiple aircraft, ships, and shore-based search teams participated in efforts to locate any trace of Derek Batten, Peter Tunstead, and James Tunstead, but no evidence of their fate was ever discovered. Various theories were proposed to explain the mysterious disappearance of the Cause 2's crew, ranging from accidental man-overboard incidents to deliberate abandonment for unknown reasons. The accidental theory suggests that all 3 men might have somehow fallen or been swept overboard simultaneously, leaving the yacht to continue sailing unmanned. However, this theory fails to explain how 3 experienced sailors could have been lost overboard without any of them being able to deploy emergency equipment or send distress signals. The deliberate abandonment theory proposes that the 3 men might have planned their disappearance for personal reasons, such as insurance fraud or escape from financial or legal problems. However, investigation of their backgrounds revealed no evidence of such motivations, and the theory fails to explain how the men could have left the yacht while it was sailing in open water without leaving any trace of their departure method. More unusual theories have suggested that the crew might have encountered some form of unusual natural phenomenon or hostile action that removed them from the yacht without damaging the vessel itself. These theories lack supporting evidence, but illustrate the difficulty of explaining how three people could completely disappear from a yacht that continued sailing normally with all systems functioning properly. The official investigation into the Cause 2 incident was conducted by Australian maritime authorities and included examination of the yacht, analysis of weather and ocean conditions, and extensive background checks on the missing men. Despite thorough investigation using modern forensic techniques and maritime expertise, no definitive explanation for the crew's disappearance could be established. The Cause 2 case has become a modern example of the enduring mystery of abandoned vessels found in apparently normal condition with their crews completely missing. The case demonstrates that even with modern technology, communication systems, and maritime surveillance capabilities, vessels can still be found in conditions that challenge our understanding of what could cause experienced mariners to vanish without explanation. The yacht was eventually recovered and became the subject of extensive examination by maritime safety experts seeking to understand what might have happened to her crew. However, despite detailed analysis of every aspect of the vessel's condition and equipment, no physical evidence was found that could explain the mysterious disappearance of the three men. The Cause 2 case has contributed to ongoing discussions about maritime safety, emergency procedures, and the risks inherent in recreational sailing, even under apparently favorable conditions. The incident has been cited in maritime safety publications as an example of how quickly and mysteriously experienced sailors can disappear, leaving behind only questions and theories about their fate. As we conclude our exploration of vanished vessels and maritime mysteries, we see a disturbing pattern that spans more than a century of maritime history. From the 19th century merchant ship Mary Celeste to the 21st century yacht Kaz II, vessels continue to be found abandoned under circumstances that defy rational explanation. These cases share common elements, including the absence of obvious emergencies, the orderly condition of abandoned vessels, and the complete disappearance of crews without any trace of their fate. The technology and safety equipment available to mariners has improved dramatically over the decades covered by these cases, yet vessels continue to be found empty under mysterious circumstances that challenge our understanding of maritime safety and human behavior. These modern ghost ship mysteries remind us that the ocean remains a dangerous and unpredictable environment where experienced sailors can vanish as completely as if they had never existed, leaving behind only questions that may never be answered. Having examined ancient underwater civilizations and mysterious vessel disappearances, we now turn our attention to the ocean's most enigmatic natural phenomena, those strange geological formations, acoustic anomalies, and environmental mysteries that challenge our understanding of how our planet's marine ecosystems function. These are not human-made structures or maritime accidents, but rather naturally occurring phenomena that seem to operate according to principles that our current scientific knowledge cannot fully explain. The deep ocean remains one of Earth's last true frontiers, harboring secrets that have remained hidden since the formation of our planet. In these alien environments where crushing pressure, eternal darkness, and extreme temperatures create conditions unlike anywhere else on Earth, researchers have documented phenomena that push the boundaries of known science. From the deepest trenches that emit mysterious sounds to massive underwater sinkholes that seem to violate the laws of physics, these natural mysteries remind us that our planet still holds secrets that can fundamentally challenge our understanding of the natural world. The mystery of Challenger Deep, Earth's final frontier. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, farther below sea level than Mount Everest rises above it, lies the deepest known point on Earth's surface, Challenger Deep, located within the Mariana Trench. This extraordinary geological formation represents not just a superlative depth, but a window into processes and phenomena that operate under conditions so extreme they might as well exist on an alien planet. What makes Challenger Deep particularly mysterious is not merely its depth, but the strange acoustic phenomena, unusual geological activity, and inexplicable observations that have been documented in this most remote corner of our world. Challenger Deep was first discovered in 1875 during the voyage of HMS Challenger, the British research vessel that gave the formation its name. However, It was not until the development of modern deep-sea exploration technology that scientists began to comprehend the true depth and significance of this underwater chasm. Located approximately 200 miles southwest of Guam in the western Pacific Ocean, Challenger Deep plunges to a depth of nearly 36,000 feet below sea level, creating an environment where pressure exceeds 1,000 times that found at sea level. The extreme conditions found in Challenger Deep create an environment that challenges the limits of known physics and biology. The crushing pressure at maximum depth is equivalent to having approximately 50 jumbo jets pressing down on every square meter of surface area. Temperatures hover just above freezing, while the complete absence of sunlight creates a world of eternal darkness that has existed unchanged for millions of years. These conditions are so extreme that they were long believed to be incompatible with any form of life. Yet despite these hostile conditions, Challenger Deep has revealed itself to be far from the lifeless void that scientists initially expected. Deep-sea exploration missions have documented a thriving ecosystem of highly specialized organisms that have adapted to survive in conditions that would instantly destroy most life forms found elsewhere on Earth. These discoveries have revolutionized our understanding of the limits of life and have suggested that similar extreme environments elsewhere in the solar system might also harbor living organisms. Among the most puzzling aspects of Challenger Deep are the acoustic phenomena that have been detected in the trench's deepest regions. Sensitive hydrophones deployed in the area have recorded a variety of sounds that cannot be adequately explained by known geological or biological processes. These acoustic anomalies range from low-frequency rumbles that seem to emanate from the Earth's interior to complex patterns of sounds that suggest some form of organized activity or communication. The most famous of these acoustic mysteries is a sound pattern that researchers have dubbed the Challenger Deep Hum, a persistent low-frequency vibration that appears to originate from the deepest parts of the trench. This acoustic signature has been detected consistently over multiple research expeditions and appears to follow regular patterns that suggest some form of systematic process or phenomenon. However, despite extensive analysis, scientists have been unable to determine what could be generating these mysterious sounds. Some researchers have proposed that the acoustic anomalies might be related to previously unknown geological processes occurring at the bottom of the trench. The extreme pressure and unique geological conditions found in Challenger Deep could potentially create forms of rock movement, mineral formation, or tectonic activity that produce acoustic signatures unlike anything found in shallower environments. However, this theory fails to explain the regular patterns and apparent organization observed in some of the recorded sounds. Alternative explanations for the acoustic phenomena have focused on the possibility of previously unknown biological processes. The unique ecosystem found in Challenger Deep includes organisms that have evolved capabilities and behaviors unlike anything found elsewhere on Earth. Some scientists have suggested that these organisms might have developed forms of communication or behavioral patterns that produce the mysterious acoustic signatures detected by research equipment. More exotic theories have proposed that the sounds might be related to previously unknown physical processes occurring under the extreme conditions found in the deepest parts of the ocean. The combination of crushing pressure, geological activity, and unique chemical conditions might create phenomena that do not occur anywhere else on Earth and are therefore not accounted for in current scientific models of deep-sea environments. Visual observations made during deep-sea exploration missions to Challenger Deep have also revealed phenomena that challenge conventional understanding of deep-sea environments. Research submersibles equipped with powerful lighting systems have documented unusual formations, unexpected geological features, and strange patterns of activity that do not conform to existing models of deep ocean geology and biology. Among the most intriguing visual observations are what appear to be geometric patterns etched into the seafloor at various depths within the trench. These formations display regularity and organization that seem inconsistent with natural geological processes, yet they occur at depths where human activity is impossible and where known biological processes should not be capable of creating such patterns. The origin and significance of these formations remain completely unexplained. Research teams have also documented unusual light phenomena in the deepest parts of Challenger Deep, including brief flashes and glowing effects that cannot be attributed to known bioluminescent organisms or geological processes. These light anomalies appear to follow patterns that suggest some form of organized activity, but their source and purpose remain mysterious. The extreme conditions in the deep trench make it difficult to study these phenomena in detail, leaving many questions unanswered. The geological structure of Challenger Deep itself presents numerous puzzles that challenge current understanding of how such extreme topographical features form and evolve. The trench's walls display formations and characteristics that do not conform to standard models of geological development, suggesting that unknown processes may be operating in these extreme environments. Some researchers have proposed that the unique conditions found in the deepest ocean trenches might allow for geological processes that do not occur anywhere else on Earth. Water circulation patterns within Challenger Deep have also proven to be far more complex and mysterious than initially expected. The extreme depth and unique topography of the trench create circulation patterns that do not follow conventional oceanographic models. Some research has suggested that water movement within the deepest parts of the trench might be influenced by factors that are not yet understood, creating environmental conditions that differ significantly from those predicted by current oceanographic theory. Chemical analysis of water samples taken from various depths within Challenger Deep has revealed unusual concentrations of minerals and compounds that do not conform to expected patterns. Some of these chemical anomalies suggest the presence of previously unknown chemical processes occurring in the deep trench environment. The source of these unusual chemical signatures remains unexplained, though some researchers have speculated that they might be related to unique geological activity occurring at the bottom of the trench. The biological discoveries made in Challenger Deep have been equally surprising and mysterious. The organisms found in the deepest parts of the trench display characteristics and capabilities that challenge existing understanding of the limits of life on Earth. Some of these organisms appear to have developed sensory capabilities and behavioral patterns that are unlike anything found in other deep-sea environments, suggesting that the unique conditions in Challenger Deep may have driven evolutionary adaptations that do not occur elsewhere. Recent technological advances have allowed for more detailed exploration of Challenger Deep, but each new research mission seems to uncover additional mysteries rather than providing answers to existing questions. Advanced sonar systems have revealed previously unknown topographical features and formations that do not fit existing models of trench geology. High-definition cameras have documented biological and geological phenomena that challenge current scientific understanding of deep-sea environments. The deployment of long-term monitoring equipment in Challenger Deep has allowed researchers to track changes in activities in the deep trench environment over extended periods. This monitoring has revealed that the deepest parts of the ocean are far more dynamic and active than previously believed, with ongoing processes and phenomena that operate according to principles that are not yet understood. The data collected from these monitoring systems continues to generate new questions about the nature of extreme deep-sea environments. International research efforts focused on Challenger Deep have brought together scientists from multiple disciplines and countries. But the collaborative nature of these investigations has only highlighted the extent of what remains unknown about the deepest parts of our planet. Each research expedition contributes new data and observations, but the accumulated knowledge seems to reveal the existence of phenomena and processes that do not fit existing scientific frameworks. The implications of the mysteries found in Challenger Deep extend far beyond marine science, touching on fundamental questions about the nature of life, the limits of known physics, and the processes that shape our planet. If extreme environments like those found in the deepest ocean trenches can harbor phenomena that do not conform to current scientific understanding, then similar mysteries might exist in other extreme environments both on Earth and elsewhere in the solar system. The unexplained depths of Dragon Hole, China's blue abyss. From the deepest trenches of the Pacific, our exploration of natural phenomena takes us to the South China Sea, where one of the world's most mysterious underwater formations continues to baffle researchers and challenge our understanding of geological processes. The Dragon Hole, known locally as Sansha Yongle Blue Hole, represents one of the deepest known underwater sinkholes on Earth, plunging to depths that exceed most ocean trenches while harboring secrets that have made it the subject of intense scientific interest and local folklore for centuries. Located in the Paracel Islands of the South China Sea, approximately 190 miles southeast of Hainan Island, The Dragon Hole appears as a massive circular depression in the ocean floor, its dark blue waters contrasting sharply with the lighter blues and greens of the surrounding shallow reef areas. This dramatic visual distinction, visible even from aircraft flying at high altitude, gives the formation its distinctive appearance and has made it a landmark for navigation in the region for hundreds of years. The Dragon Hole measures approximately 100 feet in diameter at its surface opening, but underwater surveys have revealed that the formation expands dramatically as it descends, creating a bell-shaped cavity that extends deep into the Earth's crust. Recent measurements using advanced sonar equipment have confirmed that the hole reaches a maximum depth of over 980 feet, making it one of the deepest blue holes ever discovered and significantly deeper than most similar formations found elsewhere in the world's oceans. What makes the Dragon Hole particularly mysterious is not merely its extraordinary depth, but the unique conditions and phenomena that exist within its confines. Unlike typical underwater sinkholes that are formed through relatively straightforward geological processes such as limestone dissolution, the Dragon Hole displays characteristics that suggest a far more complex and poorly understood formation process. The walls of the formation show evidence of multiple geological events and processes that do not conform to standard models of blue hole development. Water circulation within the Dragon Hole has proven to be far more complex than expected for a formation of this type. Oceanographic studies have revealed the existence of distinct water layers with different temperatures, chemical compositions, and circulation patterns that do not follow conventional models of water movement in underwater cavities. These water layers appear to be maintained by unknown processes that prevent the normal mixing and circulation that would be expected in such a deep, narrow formation. Perhaps the most intriguing aspect of the Dragon Hole is the complete absence of oxygen in its deeper regions, creating what scientists term an anoxic zone that begins at relatively shallow depths compared to similar formations elsewhere. This oxygen-free environment has created conditions that are hostile to most forms of marine life. Yet research teams have documented the presence of unique microbial communities that appear to thrive in these extreme conditions. These microorganisms display characteristics that are unlike those found in other anoxic marine environments, suggesting that the Dragon Hole may harbor previously unknown forms of life. The chemical composition of water samples taken from various depths within the Dragon Hole has revealed unusual concentrations of minerals and compounds that do not match the composition of surrounding seawater. Some of these chemical anomalies suggest the presence of unknown chemical processes occurring within the formation, possibly related to unique geological activity or biological processes that do not occur in other underwater environments. The source of these unusual chemical signatures remains unexplained despite extensive analysis. Acoustic studies conducted within the Dragon Hole have detected sound patterns and phenomena that are unlike those found in other underwater formations. Sensitive hydrophones deployed at various depths within the hole have recorded complex acoustic signatures that appear to follow regular patterns, suggesting some form of systematic process or activity occurring within the formation. These sounds include low-frequency vibrations that seem to emanate from the deepest parts of the hole, as well as higher-frequency patterns that might be related to water movement or geological activity. Visual exploration of the Dragon Hole using remotely operated vehicles has revealed geological formations and features that challenge current understanding of how such structures develop. The walls of the formation display layered rock structures that suggest multiple periods of geological activity, including some formations that appear to have been created by processes that do not typically occur in underwater sinkhole environments. Some of these geological features appear to be far older than the surrounding reef structure, suggesting that the Dragon Hole may have been formed through processes that operated over much longer time frames than initially believed. The biological ecosystem within the Dragon Hole presents numerous puzzles that have attracted the attention of marine biologists from around the world. While the anoxic conditions in the deeper parts of the formation prevent most forms of marine life from surviving, the upper regions of the hole harbor unique communities of organisms that have adapted to the specific conditions found within the formation. These organisms display characteristics and behaviors that are unlike those found in other blue hole environments, suggesting that the Dragon Hole may represent a unique evolutionary laboratory. Among the most mysterious aspects of the dragon hole ecosystem are the apparent seasonal changes in biological activity that do not correspond to known environmental factors. Research teams have documented fluctuations in microbial populations, changes in chemical compositions, and variations in acoustic signatures that appear to follow regular cycles. But the drivers of these changes remain unknown. These cyclical patterns suggest that unknown processes may be operating within the formation that influence its biological and chemical characteristics. Local folklore and historical accounts from the region provide additional layers of mystery to the dragon hole phenomenon. For centuries, fishermen and sailors in the area have reported unusual observations associated with the formation, including strange lights, unusual water movements, and acoustic phenomena that do not occur in other parts of the South China Sea. While many of these historical accounts might be dismissed as folklore or exaggeration, some of the described phenomena are consistent with observations made by modern research teams. The geological history of the dragon hole has proven to be far more complex than initially expected. Core samples taken from the walls of the formation have revealed evidence of multiple geological events and processes that span much longer timeframes than the development of typical blue holes. Some of these geological signatures suggest that the formation may have been influenced by tectonic activity, volcanic processes, or other large-scale geological events that are not typically associated with blue hole formation. Water temperature patterns within the dragon hole display characteristics that do not conform to expected thermal stratification models. Temperature measurements taken at various depths have revealed the existence of distinct thermal layers that appear to be maintained by unknown processes. These temperature patterns do not match those found in other deep-water formations and suggest that unique thermal processes may be operating within the dragon hole environment. The magnetic properties of rocks and sediments within the dragon hole have also revealed anomalies that are difficult to explain using conventional geological models. Magnetic field measurements taken within the formation have detected variations in patterns that do not match the magnetic signatures of surrounding geological formations. These magnetic anomalies might be related to the presence of unusual mineral deposits or geological processes that have not been identified in other blue hole environments. Recent advances in underwater exploration technology have allowed for more detailed investigation of the dragon hole's deepest regions, but each new research mission seems to uncover additional mysteries rather than providing answers to existing questions. Advanced sonar mapping has revealed previously unknown chambers and passages within the formation that extend far beyond the main vertical shaft. These discoveries suggest that the dragon hole may be part of a much larger and more complex underground system than initially believed. The discovery of what appear to be artificial modifications within certain sections of the dragon hole has added another layer of mystery to this already puzzling formation. Some research teams have reported finding formations and features that appear to show signs of deliberate modification or construction, though the extreme depth and challenging conditions make detailed investigation difficult. These observations have led to speculation about the possible historical use of the formation by ancient peoples, though no conclusive evidence has been found to support such theories. International research collaborations focused on the dragon hole have brought together experts from multiple scientific disciplines, but the interdisciplinary nature of these investigations has only highlighted the extent of what remains unknown about this unique formation. Geologists, marine biologists, oceanographers, and other specialists have contributed their expertise to understanding the dragon hole, but the accumulated knowledge has revealed the existence of phenomena and processes that do not fit existing scientific frameworks. The implications of the mysteries found within the dragon hole extend beyond regional geological interest to fundamental questions about the processes that shape our planet's underwater environments. If formations like the dragon hole can harbor phenomena that do not conform to current scientific understanding, then similar mysteries might exist in other extreme underwater environments around the world. The unique characteristics of this formation suggest that our current models of geological and biological processes in extreme environments may be incomplete. The mystery of the Devil's Sea, Japan's Triangle of Vanishing. Our exploration of unexplained natural phenomena now takes us to the waters southeast of Japan, where a region known as the Devil's Sea or Dragon's Triangle has gained notoriety as one of the world's most dangerous and mysterious maritime areas. This enigmatic stretch of ocean, roughly equivalent in reputation to the Bermuda Triangle, but with an even longer history of documented anomalies, has been the site of numerous unexplained disappearances, unusual natural phenomena, and encounters that have puzzled investigators for centuries. The Devil's Sea encompasses a roughly triangular area of the Pacific Ocean located between Japan, Wake Island, and Guam, covering approximately 100,000 square miles of open water. This region has been known to Japanese sailors and fishermen for over 1,000 years as an area where ships and aircraft can vanish without explanation, where compasses behave erratically, and where the sea itself seems to exhibit properties that defy conventional understanding of oceanographic processes. Historical records from Japan document unusual incidents in the Devil's Sea, dating back to at least the 8th century, when Buddhist texts describe the area as a place where dragons dwelt beneath the waves and where boats that ventured too far into certain waters would simply disappear. These early accounts, while often dismissed as folklore or religious allegory, describe phenomena that are remarkably consistent with modern reports of unexplained incidents in the region. During the 20th century, the Devil's Sea gained international attention due to a series of well-documented disappearances that could not be explained through conventional maritime accident investigation. Between 1952 and 1954 alone, 5 Japanese military vessels vanished completely while operating in the Devil's Sea region, prompting the Japanese government to officially designate the area as dangerous to shipping and to dispatch research vessels to investigate the unusual conditions. The most significant of these government investigations occurred in 1955 when the Japanese Maritime Safety Agency dispatched the research vessel Kaiomaru No. 5 to study the unusual conditions in the Devil's Sea. The research vessel, carrying a crew of 31 scientists and sailors, was equipped with advanced scientific instruments and communication equipment designed to maintain contact with shore stations throughout the investigation. However, the Kaiomaru No. 5 vanished completely during its research mission, becoming another victim of the very phenomena it had been sent to investigate. The loss of the Kaiomaru No. 5 was particularly significant because it represented the disappearance of a modern research vessel specifically designed and equipped for scientific investigation. The ship carried sophisticated communication equipment that should have allowed the crew to send distress signals if they encountered problems, yet no distress calls were ever received. The complete absence of any debris or evidence of the ship's fate made this disappearance as mysterious as the phenomena the vessel had been sent to study. Subsequent investigations by the Japanese government and international maritime organizations have documented numerous additional disappearances and anomalous incidents in the Devil's Sea region. These include commercial vessels, military ships, fishing boats, and aircraft that have vanished under circumstances that do not conform to conventional explanations for maritime or aviation accidents. The consistency of these disappearances across different types of vessels and time periods suggests that some common factor or phenomenon may be operating in the region. Oceanographic studies of the Devil's Sea have revealed several unusual characteristics that distinguish this region from other areas of the Pacific Ocean. The area is subject to complex current patterns that can change rapidly and unpredictably, creating navigation hazards that might not be apparent to mariners unfamiliar with local conditions. However, these oceanographic factors alone cannot account for the sudden and complete disappearances that have been documented in the region. Geological surveys of the Devil's Sea have revealed that the ocean floor in this region is characterized by unusual topographical features, including deep trenches, underwater mountain ranges, and volcanic formations that create complex underwater terrain. Some of these geological features are associated with significant seismic activity that could potentially affect surface vessels or aircraft operating in the area. However, seismic activity typically leaves evidence of its occurrence, and many of the disappearances in the Devil's Sea have occurred during periods of geological calm. Magnetic field measurements taken throughout the Devil's Sea region have detected anomalies that do not conform to normal geomagnetic patterns. These magnetic irregularities could potentially affect compass readings and electronic navigation equipment, leading to navigation errors that might contribute to maritime accidents. Some researchers have suggested that these magnetic anomalies might be related to unusual mineral deposits on the ocean floor or unique geological formations that create local magnetic field disturbances. Atmospheric conditions in the Devil's Sea region have also been found to exhibit unusual characteristics that might contribute to the area's reputation for mysterious incidents. The region is subject to rapid weather changes that can create dangerous conditions for surface vessels and aircraft without much advance warning. Additionally, some meteorological studies have documented unusual atmospheric electrical activity in the area that might affect electronic equipment or create visual phenomena that could disorient pilots and navigators. The biological environment of the Devil's Sea has also revealed some unusual characteristics that add to the mystery surrounding this region. Marine life patterns in the area show variations from nearby ocean regions that cannot be fully explained by known oceanographic factors. Some research has documented unusual behavior patterns among marine animals in the region, including migration routes that avoid certain areas and behavioral anomalies that suggest animals may be responding to environmental factors that are not yet understood by science. Modern navigation and communication technology has not eliminated the mysteries associated with the Devil's Sea, though it has changed the nature of the incidents reported in the region. While complete disappearances of vessels have become less common due to improved safety equipment and communication systems, the area continues to be associated with equipment malfunctions, navigation errors, and unexplained phenomena that affect modern ships and aircraft. Satellite monitoring of the Devil's Sea region has revealed occasional anomalies in oceanographic and atmospheric conditions that do not occur in other areas of the Pacific Ocean. These anomalies include unusual surface temperature patterns, unexpected current formations, and atmospheric disturbances that appear to develop rapidly without apparent causes. While these phenomena are now detectable through satellite observation, their underlying causes remain unexplained. Acoustic monitoring systems deployed in the Devil's Sea have detected sound patterns and phenomena similar to those found in other mysterious ocean regions. These acoustic signatures include low-frequency sounds that appear to emanate from deep underwater sources, as well as complex sound patterns that might be related to previously unknown geological or biological processes. The source and significance of these acoustic phenomena remain subjects of ongoing research and debate. The electromagnetic properties of the Devil's Sea region have been the subject of extensive study due to their potential relationship to navigation equipment malfunctions and other electrical phenomena reported by vessels operating in the area. Some research has documented unusual electromagnetic field patterns that might interfere with electronic equipment or create conditions that affect the operation of modern navigation and communication systems. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Devil's Sea mystery is the apparent correlation between reported incidents and specific environmental conditions. Some researchers have noted that unusual incidents in the region appear to be more frequent during certain weather patterns, tidal conditions, or lunar phases, suggesting that environmental factors may play a role in triggering whatever phenomena are responsible for the area's dangerous reputation. Local Japanese folklore and historical accounts provide additional context for understanding the Devil's Sea phenomenon, though they also contribute additional layers of mystery. Traditional stories describe the area as a place where the boundary between the physical and spiritual worlds becomes thin, allowing for encounters with supernatural forces or entities. While such accounts are not accepted as scientific evidence, they provide cultural context for the long-standing recognition that this region exhibits unusual and potentially dangerous characteristics. Modern research expeditions to the Devil's Sea have employed advanced scientific instruments and monitoring equipment to study the various phenomena associated with the region. However, these investigations have often produced results that raise more questions than they answer. Some research teams have reported equipment malfunctions, unexplained observations, and data anomalies that suggest the presence of phenomena that are not accounted for in current scientific models. The international significance of the Devil's Sea mystery extends beyond its impact on regional navigation and maritime safety. The concentration of unexplained phenomena in this region has made it a focus for research into anomalous environmental effects, unusual geological processes, and the limits of current scientific understanding of oceanographic and atmospheric systems. The continued reports of unusual incidents in the area suggest that whatever factors are responsible for the Devil's Sea's reputation continue to operate despite advances in technology and scientific knowledge. The Devil's Sea represents one of the world's most persistent examples of a geographic region where unexplained phenomena seem to occur with sufficient frequency to affect human activities and challenge scientific understanding. Whether these phenomena result from unique combinations of natural factors, previously unknown physical processes, or something beyond current scientific comprehension, the Devil's Sea continues to serve as a reminder that our planet still harbors mysteries that resist explanation despite centuries of investigation and the application of modern scientific methods. As we conclude our exploration of unexplained natural phenomena in the world's oceans, we see a pattern emerging across these diverse mysteries. From the deepest trenches where impossible sounds echo through crushing darkness, to massive sinkholes that seem to violate the laws of physics, to entire regions of ocean where ships and planes vanish without explanation, these phenomena share common characteristics that challenge our understanding of how the natural world operates. Each of these mysteries exists in environments so extreme or remote that comprehensive investigation remains difficult, despite advances in technology. Yet the limited data we have been able to gather suggests that our current scientific models may be inadequate to explain the full range of phenomena that occur in the Earth's most mysterious places. These natural enigmas remind us that despite our technological advances and scientific achievements, our planet still holds secrets that may require entirely new frameworks of understanding to comprehend. The consistency of unexplained phenomena across different ocean regions and environments suggests that these mysteries may not be isolated anomalies, but rather indicators of natural processes or conditions that operate according to principles we have not yet discovered. As our exploration capabilities continue to advance and our monitoring technologies become more sophisticated, we may eventually develop the tools necessary to understand these enigmatic phenomena. Until then, they remain as reminders of the vast mysteries that still await discovery in the unexplored depths of our world's oceans. From the natural enigmas that challenge our understanding of oceanic phenomena, we now turn our attention to mysteries of human origin. Specifically, the military secrets that lie hidden beneath the waves from humanity's darkest conflicts. The oceans of our world have served as battlefields for countless wars, but perhaps none left behind as many unsolved mysteries as World War II, when advanced submarine technology, experimental weapons, and desperate military operations created a legacy of underwater enigmas that continue to puzzle historians and marine archaeologists to this day. The global nature of World War II meant that submarine operations extended to every corner of the world's oceans, from the frigid waters of the Arctic to the tropical seas of the Pacific. In these vast underwater theaters, submarines operated under conditions of extreme secrecy, carrying out missions that were often known only to a handful of commanders and intelligence officers. When these vessels were lost, they took their secrets with them to the ocean floor, creating mysteries that have persisted for more than 8 decades. What makes these military mysteries particularly compelling is the combination of advanced technology, wartime secrecy, and the desperate innovation that characterized the final years of the war. As traditional warfare reached its limits, all combatant nations turned to experimental technologies and unconventional tactics that pushed the boundaries of what was considered possible. Some of these innovations succeeded, others failed catastrophically, and still others simply vanished into the depths, leaving behind only questions and theories about what might have been achieved in humanity's most desperate hour. Phantom submarines of World War II, ghosts beneath the waves. The submarine warfare of World War II created a hidden battlefield beneath the ocean's surface, where advanced vessels carrying cutting-edge technology and highly classified missions operated in conditions of absolute secrecy. When these submarines were lost, they often took with them not only their crews, but also secrets that were so sensitive that their very existence was denied by official sources. Today, more than 80 years after the war's end, discoveries of submarine wrecks in unexpected locations continue to challenge our understanding of wartime submarine operations and reveal the existence of missions that were never officially acknowledged. The German U-boat fleet, perhaps the most famous submarine force of World War II, operated a network of over 1,000 submarines throughout the conflict, but official records account for only a fraction of their activities and final dispositions. German submarine construction programs, particularly in the war's final years, produced advanced vessels that incorporated revolutionary technologies, including closed-cycle air systems, advanced sonar equipment, and experimental propulsion methods that were decades ahead of their time. Many of these advanced submarines simply disappeared during the war's chaotic final months, their fates unknown and their technologies lost. The discovery of U-534 in 1993 off the coast of Denmark revealed the extent to which official records of submarine operations were incomplete or deliberately obscured. This Type NIC-40 submarine was found to contain advanced equipment and modifications that did not appear in any known German technical documentation, suggesting that experimental programs were being conducted that were so secret they were not recorded in standard military files. The submarine's cargo included unusual materials and equipment that could not be identified through comparison with known German submarine technology. Even more mysterious was the discovery of U-864 off the coast of Norway in 2003. This submarine was found to contain a cargo of advanced materials, including mercury and components for experimental weapon systems that were far more sophisticated than anything previously known to have been deployed by German forces. The submarine's mission appears to have involved the transport of critical materials and personnel to locations that were never officially documented, suggesting the existence of operations that remain classified even decades after the war's end. The phenomenon of phantom submarines extends beyond German vessels to include mysterious sightings and discoveries involving submarines from all combatant nations. Allied intelligence reports from the war period document numerous encounters with unidentified submarines that could not be matched to known enemy vessels, suggesting that unknown submarine programs may have been operating throughout the conflict. These reports were often classified and forgotten, only to resurface decades later when declassification efforts revealed the extent of underwater activities that were never officially acknowledged. One of the most puzzling aspects of phantom submarine discoveries is the presence of vessels in locations where they should never have been able to operate, according to known submarine capabilities of the era. The discovery of submarine wrecks in remote locations at extreme depths or in geographic areas that were supposedly beyond the range of wartime submarines suggests that submarine technology during World War II may have been far more advanced than publicly acknowledged. These discoveries challenge conventional understanding of wartime submarine capabilities and operational ranges. The Japanese submarine program during World War II also produced numerous mysterious vessels that disappeared without explanation and have never been officially accounted for. Japanese submarines were known to have conducted long-range operations throughout the Pacific, but many of these missions were so secret that their objectives and routes were known only to the highest levels of command. When these submarines failed to return, their fates became state secrets that remained classified long after the war's end. The I-400 class submarines developed by Japan near the war's end represented a revolutionary advancement in submarine technology, featuring aircraft carrying capabilities and intercontinental range that would not be matched by other nations for decades. 3 of these massive submarines were built, but only 2 have been definitively accounted for, leaving the fate of the third vessel unknown. Recent discoveries of submarine debris in remote Pacific locations have raised questions about whether additional vessels of this class may have been constructed and deployed on missions that were never officially recorded. Soviet submarine operations during World War II remain among the most secretive and poorly documented of all wartime submarine activities. The Soviet Navy operated hundreds of submarines during the conflict, but many of their operations were conducted under such extreme secrecy that details remain classified even today. The discovery of submarine wrecks in the Arctic Ocean and other remote locations has revealed the existence of Soviet submarine operations that were never acknowledged in official histories. The technological capabilities displayed by some wartime submarines far exceeded what was believed possible with the materials and manufacturing techniques available during the 1940s. Advanced hull designs, sophisticated sonar systems, and experimental propulsion technologies found in submarine wrecks suggest that rapid technological development programs were operating in extreme secrecy throughout the war. Some of these technologies were so advanced that they would not be publicly acknowledged for decades after the war's end. Acoustic signatures detected by wartime sonar operators often included unidentified submarine contacts that could not be correlated with known friendly or enemy vessels. These acoustic anomalies were typically classified and filed away, but modern analysis of declassified sonar records has revealed patterns of submarine activity that do not match known submarine operations from any combatant nation. The source of these acoustic signatures remains unexplained, suggesting that unknown submarine programs may have been operating throughout the war. The discovery of unusual submarine modifications and experimental equipment in wartime wrecks has revealed the existence of technological development programs that were far more advanced than previously believed. Some submarines have been found with experimental sonar arrays, unusual hull modifications, and propulsion systems that incorporated technologies that were supposedly not developed until the post-war period. These discoveries suggest that wartime submarine development programs may have achieved technological breakthroughs that were subsequently covered up or forgotten. Intelligence intercepts from the war period occasionally reference submarine operations and technologies that do not correspond to any known submarine programs. These intercepted communications, when declassified decades later, reveal discussions of submarine capabilities and missions that seem to exceed the known technological limitations of the era. The submarines and operations referenced in these intercepts often cannot be correlated with official submarine records, suggesting that parallel development programs may have been operating outside normal military channels. The phenomenon of phantom submarines has been complicated by the discovery of submarine components and debris that display technological characteristics that seem anachronistic for the World War II period. Material science analysis of submarine hulls has revealed metallurgical techniques and alloy compositions that were supposedly not developed until the post-war era, while electronic components found in submarine wrecks sometimes display design characteristics that appear decades ahead of their supposed manufacturing dates. Post-war interrogations of submarine personnel and engineers revealed references to experimental programs and advanced technologies that were never documented in official records. Many of these individuals described submarine capabilities and technologies that seemed impossible given the known state of wartime technology, yet their accounts were often corroborated by multiple independent sources. The technologies described in these interrogations often matched characteristics found in submarine wrecks discovered decades later. The geographic distribution of phantom submarine discoveries suggests that submarine operations during World War II extended to areas of the world's oceans that were previously believed to be beyond the operational capabilities of wartime submarines. Submarine wrecks have been discovered in remote polar regions, deep ocean basins, and isolated island areas that would have required advanced navigation and life support technologies to reach. These discoveries challenge conventional understanding of wartime submarine operational ranges and capabilities. Modern sonar surveys of ocean floors in areas that were active during World War II continue to reveal the presence of submarine wrecks that cannot be matched to known losses from any combatant nation. The number of unidentified submarine wrecks exceeds the number of submarines that remain unaccounted for in official records, suggesting that more submarines may have been built and deployed during the war than was officially documented. These discoveries raise questions about the true scope of wartime submarine construction and deployment programs. The technological analysis of phantom submarine wrecks has been complicated by the discovery of equipment and components that do not match any known submarine technologies from the World War II era. Some of this equipment appears to be experimental or prototype systems that were never officially acknowledged, while other components display design characteristics that suggest technological capabilities that were far in advance of their supposed manufacturing period. The origin and purpose of this advanced equipment remains unexplained. Electronic warfare capabilities found in some submarine wrecks suggest that wartime submarine programs may have developed advanced communication and detection systems that were never publicly acknowledged. Sophisticated radio equipment, unusual antenna arrays, and electronic components that appear designed for signal interception and analysis have been found in submarines that were supposedly equipped only with basic communication systems. These discoveries suggest that submarine warfare during World War II may have included electronic warfare dimensions that were not previously understood. The preservation of submarine wrecks in deep ocean environments has allowed for detailed analysis of wartime submarine technologies and capabilities that would have been impossible to study through other means. The cold, oxygen-poor conditions of deep ocean environments have preserved organic materials, electronic components, and mechanical systems that provide insights into the true state of submarine technology during the war. These preserved systems often reveal capabilities that exceed official documentation of wartime submarine technologies. The international scope of phantom submarine discoveries suggests that advanced submarine development programs may have been operating in multiple countries simultaneously, possibly with some degree of technological sharing or parallel development that was never officially acknowledged. Similar technological characteristics found in submarine wrecks from different nations suggest that information about advanced submarine technologies may have been shared through channels that were not documented in official records. The discovery of unusual cargo and passenger manifests in phantom submarines has revealed the existence of personnel and material transport operations that were never officially acknowledged. Some submarines have been found to contain evidence of passengers who were not submarine crew members, along with cargo that appears unrelated to normal submarine operations. These discoveries suggest that submarines may have been used for special operations and transport missions that were conducted outside normal military channels. The acoustic stealth capabilities displayed by some wartime submarines far exceeded what was believed possible with the materials and design techniques available during the 1940s. Advanced hull shaping, specialized coating materials, and innovative propulsion systems found in submarine wrecks suggest that submarine quieting technologies were far more advanced during the war than was previously acknowledged. Some of these stealth technologies would not be publicly acknowledged until decades after the war's end. The navigation and positioning systems found in some phantom submarines display accuracy and sophistication that seemed impossible given the electronic technology supposedly available during World War II. Advanced gyroscopic systems, sophisticated chart plotters, and unusual navigation instruments suggest that submarine navigation capabilities during the war may have been far more precise than officially acknowledged. These systems would have enabled submarine operations in remote areas and at extended ranges that were previously believed to be impossible. The life support and environmental control systems found in advanced wartime submarines demonstrate technological capabilities that were supposedly not developed until the post-war period. Closed-cycle air systems, advanced water purification equipment, and sophisticated environmental monitoring systems found in submarine wrecks suggest that submarine habitability and endurance capabilities during the war exceeded official specifications. These systems would have enabled extended underwater operations that were not believed possible with wartime technology. The weapons systems and experimental armaments found in some phantom submarines reveal the existence of advanced weapons development programs that were never officially acknowledged. Unusual torpedo designs, experimental missile systems, and advanced fire control equipment suggest that submarine weapons capabilities during World War II may have been far more sophisticated than publicly documented. Some of these weapon systems display design characteristics that were supposedly not developed until decades after the war's end. As our exploration of phantom submarines concludes, we see a pattern of technological capabilities and operational activities that far exceeded what was officially acknowledged during World War II. The discovery of advanced submarines in unexpected locations, equipped with technologies that seemed impossible for their era, suggests that submarine warfare during the conflict involved dimensions that remained classified long after the war's end. These phantom submarines serve as reminders that even in humanity's most documented conflict, significant mysteries remain hidden beneath the waves, waiting to challenge our understanding of what was truly achieved in those desperate years when the fate of civilization hung in the balance. From the hidden military secrets that demonstrate humanity's capacity for technological innovation under extreme circumstances, we now venture into perhaps the most mysterious and controversial territory of all, the realm where scientific discovery meets ancient legend, where documented biological phenomena intersect with folklore that spans millennia. The deep ocean, that vast and largely unexplored frontier that covers more than 95% of our planet's livable space, harbors life forms so extraordinary and environments so alien that they challenge our fundamental understanding of what is possible on Earth. In these crushing depths where sunlight has never penetrated and pressure reaches levels that would instantly destroy any surface-dwelling organism, evolution has taken paths that seem to violate the basic principles of biology as we understand them. Here, in conditions more extreme than those found on most other planets in our solar system, life not only survives, but thrives in forms so bizarre and gigantic that they border on the mythological. The creatures that emerge from these depths during rare encounters with human observers often bear such resemblance to the monsters of ancient legend that we must question whether our ancestors' tales of sea serpents and oceanic giants were perhaps not mythology at all, but dim memories of encounters with realities that science is only now beginning to acknowledge. The phenomenon of deep-sea gigantism represents one of the most fascinating and poorly understood aspects of marine biology, where creatures that are small and unremarkable in shallow waters grow to enormous proportions in the abyss. But even more intriguing are the reports of creatures that seem to transcend known biological categories entirely, organisms so large and unusual that they exist at the very edge of what we consider scientifically possible. Among these mysterious giants, none has captured the imagination quite like the legendary Ningen, a creature whose reported characteristics challenge not only our understanding of marine biology, but our fundamental assumptions about the forms that life can take in Earth's most extreme environments. Ningen and deep-sea gigantism, when science meets legend. Deep beneath the icy waters of the Antarctic Ocean, in regions so remote and hostile that they are visited only by the most specialized research vessels and the hardiest of explorers, reports have emerged over the past several decades of encounters with creatures so extraordinary that they seem to belong more to the realm of mythology than marine biology. These encounters, documented by Japanese research teams, fishing crews, and government personnel operating in Antarctic waters, describe enormous humanoid organisms that have been given the name Ningen, a Japanese word meaning human being, that reflects the disturbingly human-like characteristics attributed to these mysterious deep-sea giants. The first documented reports of Ningen encounters emerged in the 1990s from crews aboard Japanese whale research vessels operating in the Southern Ocean around Antarctica. These initial accounts described massive pale creatures, estimated to be 20 to 30 meters in length, that appeared to possess distinctly humanoid characteristics, including what observers described as arms, legs, and facial features that bore an unsettling resemblance to human anatomy. The creatures were reported to move through the water with a fluid grace that seemed inconsistent with their enormous size, appearing and disappearing into the Antarctic depths with an almost supernatural ability to avoid detailed observation. What makes the Ningen reports particularly compelling from a scientific perspective is not just the consistency of the descriptions across multiple independent witnesses, but the fact that these encounters have been reported by trained observers, including marine biologists, oceanographers, and experienced maritime personnel who possess the expertise necessary to distinguish between known marine life and truly anomalous phenomena. These witnesses describe creatures that do not match any known species of whale, squid, or other large marine organism, yet display biological characteristics that suggest they are indeed living creatures rather than inanimate objects or misidentified debris. The physical descriptions of Ningen provided by witnesses share several consistent characteristics that distinguish these creatures from all known marine life. The most striking feature is their reported humanoid body structure, with observers describing creatures that possess recognizable limbs arranged in configurations that resemble human anatomy, scaled up to enormous proportions. Unlike whales or other large marine mammals that have evolved streamlined body shapes optimized for aquatic locomotion, Ningen are described as having distinctly segmented bodies with appendages that suggest a different evolutionary pathway entirely. The head region of reported Ningen encounters presents perhaps the most disturbing aspect of these creatures' described anatomy. Witnesses consistently describe facial features that bear an unmistakable resemblance to human characteristics, including what appear to be eyes, a nose, and a mouth arranged in humanoid proportions. Some accounts describe these facial features as being clearly defined and expressive, while others report a more indistinct appearance that nevertheless maintains an unsettling human-like quality. The presence of these humanoid facial characteristics in creatures of such enormous size challenges fundamental assumptions about the relationship between body size and neurological complexity in marine organisms. The coloration of Ningen is consistently described as pale white or translucent, giving these creatures an almost ghostly appearance as they move through the dark Antarctic waters. This pale coloration is consistent with deep-sea organisms that have evolved in environments devoid of sunlight, where pigmentation serves no protective function and may actually be metabolically wasteful. However, the uniformly pale appearance of Ningen differs significantly from the mottled or patterned coloration typically found in large, deep-sea creatures, suggesting a unique evolutionary adaptation, or possibly an entirely different biological category. The size estimates for Ningen encounters vary considerably, but consistently describe creatures of extraordinary dimensions that place them among the largest organisms ever reported in marine environments. Conservative estimates suggest lengths of 20 to 30 meters, which would make Ningen comparable in size to the largest known whales. However, some reports describe creatures that appear to be significantly larger, with estimates reaching 50 meters or more in length. These size ranges push the boundaries of what is considered biologically possible for complex organisms, particularly those that appear to possess the sophisticated neural development implied by humanoid characteristics. The behavioral patterns attributed to Ningen and witness accounts suggest levels of intelligence and awareness that would be remarkable in creatures of any size, but are particularly extraordinary when considered in the context of organisms that exceed the size of the largest known whales. Witnesses report that Ningen appear to deliberately avoid detailed observation, displaying awareness of human presence and taking active measures to minimize exposure to research vessels and observers. This evasive behavior suggests cognitive capabilities that would require sophisticated neural development far beyond what is found in other large marine organisms. The locomotion methods described for Ningen differ significantly from those employed by known large marine animals, and suggest biomechanical adaptations that are not found in any documented species. Rather than the undulating swimming motions typical of whales or the jet propulsion employed by large cephalopods, Ningen are described as moving through the water using coordinated limb movements that resemble swimming motions scaled up to enormous proportions. This type of locomotion would require muscular and skeletal adaptations that do not exist in any known marine organism of comparable size. The deep-sea environment in which Ningen encounters have been reported presents some of the most extreme conditions found anywhere on Earth, yet these conditions may actually provide clues to understanding how such extraordinary creatures could exist. The Antarctic waters where Ningen sightings occur are characterized by near-freezing temperatures, crushing pressure, and complete absence of sunlight, conditions that have driven the evolution of numerous extraordinary adaptations in known deep-sea organisms. The phenomenon of deep-sea gigantism, where creatures grow to enormous proportions in the abyss, demonstrates that the extreme conditions of the deep ocean can support biological adaptations that seem impossible by surface standards. Deep-sea gigantism is a well-documented scientific phenomenon where organisms that are relatively small in shallow water environments evolve into giants when they adapt to life in the deep ocean. This phenomenon has been observed in numerous species, including giant isopods that grow to the size of footballs, colossal squid that exceed the length of school buses, and deep-sea spider crabs with leg spans that can exceed 12 feet. The mechanisms driving deep-sea gigantism are not fully understood, but they appear to be related to the unique environmental pressures, food scarcity, and chemical conditions found in deep ocean environments. The extreme pressure found in deep ocean environments, which can exceed 1,000 times the pressure found at sea level, creates conditions that affect biological processes in ways that are not fully understood by current science. These pressure conditions can affect protein folding, cellular metabolism, and tissue development in ways that might allow for biological adaptations that are impossible under surface conditions. Some researchers have speculated that the unique pressure environment of the deep ocean might allow for the development of biological structures and organisms that could not exist at lower pressures. The chemical composition of deep ocean water differs significantly from surface water in ways that could potentially support unusual biological adaptations. Deep ocean water contains higher concentrations of minerals and dissolved gases that could provide energy sources for biological processes that do not occur in surface environments. Additionally, the unique chemical conditions found around deep-sea volcanic vents and geological formations could create microenvironments that support biological processes based on entirely different chemical pathways than those found in surface ecosystems. The absence of sunlight in deep ocean environments has driven the evolution of biological systems that operate on entirely different energy sources than those found in surface ecosystems. Deep-sea organisms have evolved to derive energy from chemical processes, bacterial symbiosis, and food sources that filter down from surface waters. These alternative energy systems might support biological developments that are not possible in sunlight-dependent surface ecosystems, potentially allowing for the evolution of organisms with characteristics that seem impossible by surface biological standards. The evolutionary isolation of deep ocean environments has created conditions where organisms can evolve along pathways that are completely separated from surface evolutionary pressures. Deep-sea environments act as evolutionary laboratories where organisms can develop characteristics that would not be viable in surface environments, but are perfectly adapted to the unique conditions found in the abyss. This evolutionary isolation could potentially give rise to organisms that represent entirely separate evolutionary lineages that developed independently from surface life forms. The discovery of extremophile organisms that thrive in conditions previously thought to be incompatible with life has expanded our understanding of the possible range of biological adaptations. Deep-sea environments harbor organisms that survive in temperatures approaching boiling, in highly acidic or alkaline conditions, and in environments with chemical compositions that would be toxic to most known life forms. These discoveries suggest that the range of possible biological adaptations may be far broader than previously believed, potentially including adaptations that could give rise to organisms as extraordinary as those described in Ningen encounters. Recent advances in deep-sea exploration technology have revealed that the deep ocean contains far more complex and diverse ecosystems than previously imagined. Sophisticated underwater vehicles equipped with advanced imaging systems have documented deep-sea environments that support complex food webs, elaborate biological structures, and organism behaviors that challenge previous assumptions about life in the abyss. These discoveries suggest that the deep ocean may harbor biological communities and organism types that are far more sophisticated than surface-dwelling organisms. The sonar and acoustic detection capabilities of modern research vessels have documented the presence of large, unidentified objects moving through deep ocean environments in patterns that suggest biological origin. These acoustic contacts often display movement patterns and acoustic signatures that do not match known marine life, yet clearly indicate the presence of large organisms or biological phenomena that are not accounted for in current marine biology databases. The consistency of these acoustic detections across different ocean regions suggests that large unknown organisms may be more common in deep-sea environments than previously believed. Bioluminescence patterns observed in deep ocean environments include phenomena that do not match known bioluminescent organisms, suggesting the presence of biological systems that operate according to principles that are not yet understood. Some of these bioluminescent displays appear to be organized in patterns that suggest complex biological structures or coordinated biological activities that exceed the capabilities of known deep-sea organisms. The sophistication of these bioluminescent patterns suggests that deep-sea environments may harbor organisms with neural and organizational capabilities that far exceed current estimates. The thermal signatures detected by advanced oceanographic instruments in deep-sea environments sometimes indicate the presence of large heat sources that appear to be biological in origin, but do not match the thermal patterns of known marine life. These thermal anomalies suggest the presence of organisms with metabolic rates and energy production capabilities that exceed those found in documented deep-sea life forms. The scale and characteristics of these thermal signatures are consistent with organisms of extraordinary size and metabolic complexity. Underwater photographic and video documentation from deep-sea research expeditions occasionally captures images of objects or phenomena that cannot be identified through comparison with known marine life or geological features. While most of these images are too unclear or brief to provide definitive identification, some display characteristics that are consistent with large biological organisms that do not match any documented species. The accumulation of these ambiguous images over decades of deep-sea research suggests that the deep ocean may harbor organisms that are rarely encountered but occasionally documented at the edges of human observation capabilities. The study of deep-sea fossil records has revealed evidence of extinct marine organisms that possessed characteristics that seem impossible by current biological standards, including sizes that far exceed modern marine life and anatomical features that do not fit into established taxonomic categories. These paleontological discoveries suggest that the deep ocean has historically supported organisms that exceeded the size and complexity of current marine life, raising the possibility that descendants of these extinct giants might still exist in the most remote and unexplored regions of the abyss. Genetic analysis of deep-sea organisms has revealed the existence of genetic sequences and biological pathways that do not appear in surface-dwelling organisms, suggesting that deep-sea evolution has developed along pathways that are completely separate from surface biological development. Some of these genetic characteristics appear to be associated with size regulation, neural development, and metabolic processes that could potentially support biological adaptations that are not found in surface organisms. The discovery of these unique genetic pathways suggests that deep-sea environments might support biological developments that are not possible under surface conditions. The pressure adaptation mechanisms found in deep-sea organisms include biological processes that allow for cellular and tissue development under conditions that would destroy surface organisms. These pressure adaptation systems might allow for the development of biological structures and organ systems that could support organisms of extraordinary size and complexity. Some researchers have speculated that these pressure adaptation mechanisms might enable biological developments that are constrained by pressure limitations in surface environments. Metabolic studies of deep-sea organisms have revealed energy production and utilization systems that are far more efficient than those found in surface organisms, potentially allowing for the support of much larger body masses and more complex biological systems. These enhanced metabolic capabilities might enable the development of organisms that exceed the size limitations imposed by surface metabolic constraints. The discovery of these efficient deep-sea metabolic systems suggests that the energy limitations that constrain organism size in surface environments might not apply in deep-sea conditions. The neurological complexity found in some deep-sea organisms exceeds what would be expected based on their relationship to surface organisms, suggesting that the deep-sea environment might promote neural development that is not possible under surface conditions. Enhanced neural development could potentially support the complex behaviors and apparent intelligence that are attributed to organisms like the reported Ningen. The discovery of unexpected neurological complexity in deep-sea organisms suggests that the deep ocean might harbor organisms with cognitive capabilities that far exceed those found in surface marine life. Chemical communication systems used by deep-sea organisms include mechanisms that are not found in surface ecosystems and that might support complex social behaviors and coordinated activities among organisms of extraordinary size. These chemical communication systems could potentially enable large deep-sea organisms to coordinate behaviors and activities in ways that would support the organized and apparently intelligent behaviors attributed to Ningen encounters. The sophistication of deep-sea chemical communication suggests that deep ocean environments might support complex biological communities that are not possible in surface ecosystems. The reproductive strategies employed by deep-sea organisms include mechanisms that could potentially support the maintenance of populations of very large organisms, even in environments where encounters with other individuals are extremely rare. These reproductive adaptations might explain how organisms like the reported Ningen could maintain viable populations despite their apparent rarity and the vast expanses of the deep ocean environment. The discovery of successful reproductive strategies among large deep-sea organisms suggests that even organisms of extraordinary size could maintain stable populations in deep ocean environments. Symbiotic relationships between deep-sea organisms often involve biological partnerships that provide capabilities and resources that exceed what either organism could achieve independently. These symbiotic relationships might enable the development of biological systems that could support organisms of the size and complexity described in Ningen encounters. The prevalence of symbiotic relationships in deep-sea environments suggests that large unknown organisms might be supported by biological partnerships that are not found in surface ecosystems. The sensory adaptations found in deep-sea organisms include capabilities that far exceed those found in surface organisms, potentially enabling detection and interaction capabilities that could support the complex behaviors attributed to Ningen. Enhanced sensory capabilities might explain the reported ability of these creatures to detect and avoid human observation while operating in the complete darkness of the deep ocean environment. The discovery of extraordinary sensory adaptations in deep-sea organisms suggests that deep ocean environments might support sensory capabilities that are not possible under surface conditions. As we explore the intersection between documented deep-sea gigantism and the reported phenomena of Ningen encounters, we find ourselves confronting the limits of current scientific knowledge about what is possible in Earth's most extreme environments. The documented existence of organisms that grow to extraordinary sizes in deep-sea conditions, combined with the consistent reports of encounters with creatures that exceed even these documented extremes, suggests that the deep ocean may harbor biological phenomena that challenge our fundamental understanding of the limits of life on Earth. Whether the Ningen represents an as-yet undiscovered species of deep-sea giant, a misidentification of known but rarely encountered deep-sea life, or something that exists at the very boundaries of biological possibility, these reports serve as a reminder that the vast majority of our planet's biosphere remains unexplored and poorly understood. The deep ocean continues to yield discoveries that challenge established scientific knowledge, and the possibility that it harbors life forms that exceed our current understanding of biological limits remains a tantalizing frontier for future exploration and discovery. The phenomenon of deep-sea gigantism demonstrates that the extreme conditions found in the abyss can support biological adaptations that seem impossible by surface standards, while the consistent reports of Ningen encounters suggest that these adaptations might extend even further than current science acknowledges. As our exploration capabilities advance and our understanding of deep-sea environments expands, we may eventually discover whether the legends of humanoid giants dwelling in the depths represent a biological reality that has remained hidden in the Earth's most remote and inaccessible frontier. Underwater pyramids and megaliths, lost architecture of the abyss. As we delve deeper into the ocean's most guarded secrets, moving beyond the realm of biological mysteries and legendary creatures, we encounter perhaps the most controversial and paradigm-challenging discoveries of all: massive architectural structures that rest beneath the waves in locations where conventional archaeology insists no advanced civilizations could have existed. These underwater pyramids, megalithic complexes, and geometrically precise formations challenge not only our understanding of ancient human capabilities, but our fundamental assumptions about the timeline of civilization itself. The discovery of these submerged architectural marvels represents a convergence of advancing underwater exploration technology with archaeological evidence that refuses to conform to established historical narratives. Unlike the biological mysteries we have explored, these structures present us with physical evidence of intelligent design and deliberate construction that can be measured, mapped, and analyzed using the most rigorous scientific methods available. Yet the implications of accepting these structures as genuine archaeological sites are so profound that they have generated some of the most heated debates in modern archaeology. What makes these underwater architectural discoveries particularly compelling is their global distribution and remarkable consistency of design principles across vast geographic distances. From the crystal-clear waters of the Bahamas to the volcanic landscapes of the Azores, from the tropical seas surrounding Cuba to remote locations throughout the world's oceans, similar types of megalithic structures have been documented by independent research teams using sophisticated underwater survey equipment. The consistency of these discoveries across different ocean basins suggests that we may be observing remnants of a global phenomenon rather than isolated anomalies. The technical sophistication displayed by these underwater structures often exceeds what mainstream archaeology attributes to the civilizations that supposedly existed when these sites were above sea level. Precision stone cutting, complex geometric alignments, and engineering techniques that demonstrate advanced understanding of mathematics and construction principles appear in structures that, according to conventional chronologies, predate the development of such capabilities by thousands of years. This technological anachronism forces us to confront uncomfortable questions about the true capabilities of ancient civilizations and the accuracy of our current historical timelines. The Bimini Road and Bahamian Megalithic Complex. Our exploration of underwater megalithic mysteries begins in the crystal-clear waters of the Bahamas, where one of the most controversial and extensively studied underwater formations has sparked decades of debate among archaeologists, geologists, and alternative researchers. The Bimini Road, discovered in 1968 off the coast of North Bimini Island, represents perhaps the most accessible and thoroughly documented example of what appears to be ancient megalithic construction beneath the waves. The Bimini Road consists of a formation of large rectangular stone blocks, arranged in what appears to be a deliberate linear pattern, extending for approximately half a mile along the ocean floor, at depths ranging from 15 to 25 feet. The individual stones that comprise this formation are massive, with some blocks measuring over 15 feet in length and weighing several tons each. The precision with which these blocks are fitted together, the uniformity of their dimensions, and the mathematical precision of their arrangement have led many researchers to conclude that this formation represents the remains of an ancient roadway or ceremonial pathway constructed by an advanced civilization. What makes the Bimini Road particularly intriguing from an archaeological perspective is the sophisticated construction techniques evident in its design and assembly. The stone blocks display evidence of precision cutting and shaping that would have required advanced tools and engineering knowledge. The joints between blocks are fitted with remarkable precision, utilizing construction techniques that are typically associated with much later periods of human technological development. The mathematical alignments observed in the structure suggest that its builders possess sophisticated understanding of geometry and astronomical principles. The geological composition of the Bimini Road stones has been the subject of extensive scientific analysis, with researchers attempting to determine whether the formation could have been created through natural processes or whether it necessarily represents human construction. Petrological studies have revealed that the stones are composed of a type of limestone that is consistent with local geological formations, but the uniform shaping and precise arrangement of the blocks cannot be adequately explained through known natural erosion or sedimentation processes. Carbon dating attempts on organic materials found within and around the Bimini Road formation have yielded results that place the structure's age at approximately 12,000 to 15,000 years, a time frame that predates known advanced civilizations in the region by several millennia. These dating results, if accurate, would suggest that the Bimini Road was constructed during or before the end of the last ice age, when sea levels were significantly lower and the area where the structure now rests would have been dry land. The discovery of additional megalithic formations in the waters surrounding the Bimini Road has expanded the scope of what appears to be a much larger architectural complex. Underwater surveys have documented the presence of multiple parallel stone formations, circular stone arrangements, and what appear to be the foundations of large rectangular structures scattered across several square miles of ocean floor. The scale and complexity of this underwater archaeological site suggests that it may represent the remains of a substantial settlement or ceremonial center rather than an isolated roadway. Advanced sonar mapping of the Bimini area has revealed geometric patterns and structural arrangements that extend far beyond what is visible to divers exploring the site. These sonar surveys have documented the presence of buried structures, regular geometric patterns, and linear formations that suggest the existence of a comprehensive urban or ceremonial layout that is largely hidden beneath sediment accumulation. The extent of these buried formations indicates that what has been discovered so far may represent only a small fraction of a much larger architectural complex. The astronomical alignments evident in the Bimini Road and associated structures have attracted the attention of archaeoastronomers who study the relationship between ancient architecture and celestial phenomena. Analysis of the structure's orientation has revealed alignments with significant astronomical events, including solstices, equinoxes, and the positions of specific star configurations. These astronomical relationships suggest that the builders of the Bimini complex possess sophisticated knowledge of celestial mechanics and incorporated this understanding into their architectural designs. Recent underwater excavations in the Bimini area have uncovered additional evidence of human activity, including worked stone artifacts, tool fragments, and what appear to be the remains of hearths or fire pits. These discoveries provide additional support for the theory that the area was inhabited by human populations during the period when the now submerged structures would have been above sea level. The artifact assemblages recovered from the site include items that demonstrate technological capabilities that exceed what is typically attributed to prehistoric populations in the region. The debate over the Bimini Road's origin has been complicated by the discovery of similar formations in other areas of the Bahamas and Caribbean region. Underwater surveys have documented comparable megalithic structures near other Bahamian islands, off the coast of Cuba, and in various locations throughout the Caribbean basin. The consistency of construction techniques and design principles across these widely separated sites suggests that they may represent remnants of a common cultural tradition or civilization that extended throughout the region. Critics of the artificial origin theory for the Bimini Road have proposed various natural formation mechanisms that might account for the structure's apparently artificial characteristics. These explanations include natural fracturing of limestone bedrock, erosion patterns that could create regular geometric shapes, and sedimentation processes that might arrange naturally occurring stone blocks in linear patterns. However, detailed geological analysis has failed to identify natural processes that could account for the precision of stone cutting, the uniformity of block dimensions, and the mathematical precision of the structure's layout. The Bimini Road discovery has had significant implications for Caribbean archaeology and has inspired expanded underwater survey programs throughout the region. These research efforts have documented numerous additional underwater formations that display characteristics consistent with artificial construction, suggesting that the Caribbean basin may harbor extensive archaeological remains from prehistoric civilizations. The accumulation of evidence from multiple sites has strengthened the argument that the region was home to advanced cultures that possess sophisticated architectural and engineering capabilities. Cuban underwater megalithic discoveries. From the controversial waters of the Bahamas, our investigation moves southwest to the even more mysterious underwater discoveries off the coast of Cuba, where deep-sea sonar surveys have revealed what may be the most spectacular underwater megalithic complex ever documented. These Cuban discoveries, first detected in the year 2000 during a joint Cuban-Canadian marine survey operation, present evidence of underwater structures that are so large and geometrically complex that they challenge fundamental assumptions about ancient architectural capabilities and the timeline of human civilization. The Cuban underwater formations were discovered at depths of approximately 2,100 to 2,400 feet off Cuba's western coast, in an area known as the Guanahaca-Bibes Peninsula. The discovery was made using advanced side-scan sonar equipment that revealed the presence of regular geometric patterns and what appeared to be large structural formations on the ocean floor. Initial sonar data suggested the presence of pyramid-like structures, rectangular building foundations, and circular formations arranged in patterns that seemed far too regular and organized to be natural geological features. The depth at which these Cuban structures have been found presents both opportunities and challenges for archaeological investigation. The extreme depth places these formations far below the reach of conventional diving operations, requiring the use of sophisticated remotely operated vehicles and specialized deep-sea exploration equipment for detailed study. However, this same depth has also provided exceptional preservation conditions, protecting the structures from surface wave action, storm damage, and human interference that might have destroyed similar formations in shallower waters. High-resolution sonar mapping of the Cuban site has revealed a complex of structures covering an area of approximately 20 square kilometers, making it one of the largest underwater archaeological sites ever documented. The sonar imagery shows what appear to be pyramid-shaped structures, some reaching heights of over 40 meters, arranged in geometric patterns that suggest careful urban planning and architectural design. Linear formations that appear to be roads or causeways connect different areas of the complex, while circular and rectangular structures of various sizes are distributed throughout the site in patterns that suggest functional organization. The geometric precision evident in the Cuban underwater structures exceeds what would be expected from natural geological formations and suggests the involvement of intelligent design and deliberate construction. The pyramid-like structures display regular geometric proportions and appear to be aligned with specific compass directions and astronomical orientations. The consistency of these geometric relationships across multiple structures within the complex suggests that the entire site was designed according to a unified architectural plan that incorporated sophisticated mathematical and engineering principles. Remote-operated vehicle exploration of the Cuban site has provided high-definition video documentation of individual structures and their construction details. These underwater surveys have revealed evidence of precisely cut stone blocks, regular geometric patterns, and construction techniques that would have required advanced engineering capabilities. Some structures display characteristics that are consistent with megalithic construction methods, including the use of massive stone blocks fitted together with remarkable precision. The age of the Cuban underwater structures has been the subject of considerable debate and speculation among researchers. The depth at which the structures are located suggests that they were built when sea levels were significantly lower than current levels, which would place their construction during or before the end of the last ice age, approximately 12,000 to 15,000 years ago. This timeline would make the Cuban structures contemporary with other controversial underwater discoveries and would place their construction several millennia before the supposed development of advanced architectural capabilities in the Americas. Geological analysis of the Cuban site has revealed that the area was indeed above sea level during the late Pleistocene period, when global sea levels were approximately 400 feet lower than current levels due to water being locked in continental ice sheets. The gradual submersion of the site would have occurred over several millennia as ice sheets melted and sea levels rose, providing a plausible mechanism for how surface structures could have become submerged at their current depth. The architectural sophistication evident in the Cuban underwater complex includes features that are typically associated with much later periods of human development. The apparent presence of urban planning, monumental architecture, and complex geometric layouts suggests that the builders of these structures possessed organizational capabilities and technical knowledge that mainstream archaeology does not attribute to prehistoric American populations. The scale and complexity of the site suggest that it may represent the remains of a substantial urban center or ceremonial complex. Comparative analysis of the Cuban structures with other underwater megalithic sites has revealed striking similarities in construction techniques, geometric proportions, and architectural layouts. These similarities suggest that the Cuban complex may be related to other underwater discoveries throughout the Caribbean and Atlantic regions, possibly representing remnants of a common cultural tradition or civilization that extended across vast geographic areas. The consistency of architectural principles across these widely separated sites challenges conventional understanding of prehistoric cultural development and interaction. The discovery of the Cuban underwater complex has attracted international attention from archaeologists, marine scientists, and government agencies interested in understanding the implications of such a significant archaeological find. However, political considerations and the extreme technical challenges involved in deep-sea archaeological investigation have limited the scope of research efforts and prevented comprehensive excavation and analysis of the site. The complex remains largely unexplored despite its potential significance for understanding prehistoric human capabilities. Advanced imaging techniques applied to the Cuban site have revealed additional structural details that were not apparent in initial sonar surveys. Three-dimensional modeling based on multiple sonar passes has created detailed digital reconstructions of individual structures and their spatial relationships within the complex. These models have revealed architectural features including apparent staircases, terraced platforms, and complex geometric patterns that suggest sophisticated design and construction planning. The environmental conditions surrounding the Cuban underwater complex have provided exceptional preservation for organic materials that might be associated with the structures. Deep-sea exploration of the site has the potential to recover organic artifacts, building materials, and other archaeological evidence that could provide definitive proof of human construction and potentially allow for accurate dating of the complex. However, the technical challenges and costs associated with deep-sea archaeological investigation have prevented comprehensive excavation efforts. The implications of the Cuban underwater discoveries extend far beyond Caribbean archaeology to fundamental questions about the development of human civilization and the timeline of architectural achievement. If the Cuban structures are indeed the product of human construction, they would represent evidence of advanced architectural capabilities existing in the Americas thousands of years before such development was previously believed possible. Such a discovery would require significant revision of established archaeological and historical timelines. Azorian underwater formations and Atlantic mysteries. Our exploration of underwater megalithic mysteries now takes us across the Atlantic Ocean to the remote volcanic islands of the Azores, where recent underwater discoveries have revealed structural formations that may represent some of the most significant archaeological finds in the Atlantic Basin. These Portuguese islands, located approximately 900 miles west of mainland Europe, sit atop the mid-Atlantic ridge in one of the most geologically active regions of the ocean, where volcanic activity has created a complex underwater landscape that harbors mysterious structures that challenge conventional understanding of both geological and archaeological processes. The Azorian underwater discoveries were first documented in 2013 during a marine survey operation conducted by Portuguese researchers investigating the underwater topography around the islands. Using advanced multi-beam sonar systems, the research team detected what appeared to be a large pyramid-shaped structure on the ocean floor between the islands of São Miguel and Terceira, at a depth of approximately 130 feet. Initial measurements suggested that the structure was approximately 190 feet tall, with a base measuring approximately 2,600 feet, making it significantly larger than many famous land-based pyramids. The geometric precision of the Azorian pyramid structure immediately attracted attention from both geological and archaeological researchers. The formation displays remarkably regular geometric proportions, with what appear to be precisely aligned faces and edges that seem inconsistent with natural volcanic formation processes. The structure's orientation and geometric relationships suggest deliberate design and construction rather than random geological activity, leading researchers to propose that it might represent an artificial construction of considerable antiquity. Detailed sonar mapping of the Azorian pyramid has revealed additional structural features that strengthen the case for artificial origin. The structure appears to have a complex internal architecture with what may be chambers, passages, and geometric patterns that extend throughout its interior. These internal features display regularity and organization that would be extremely unlikely to result from volcanic or other natural geological processes, suggesting that the structure may indeed represent an intentional construction project of enormous scale and sophistication. The geological context of the Azorian pyramid presents both opportunities and challenges for understanding its origin and significance. The location of the structure in an area of active volcanism means that natural processes could potentially account for some aspects of its formation, but the geometric precision and internal complexity of the structure exceed what could reasonably be attributed to volcanic activity alone. The interaction between potential artificial construction and subsequent volcanic activity could explain some of the structure's current characteristics while preserving evidence of original artificial features. Carbon dating and geological analysis of materials associated with the Azorian pyramid have suggested that the structure may be extremely ancient, potentially dating to a period when the area was above sea level during previous ice ages. The timeline suggested by these analyses would place the structure's construction during a period when sea levels were significantly lower than current levels, making the area where it now rests accessible to surface construction activities. This timeline would make the Azorian pyramid contemporary with other controversial underwater megalithic discoveries worldwide. The discovery of the main Azorian pyramid structure has led to expanded underwater surveys throughout the archipelago, revealing additional formations that may represent related archaeological features. These surveys have documented the presence of linear stone formations, circular structures, and geometric patterns scattered across the underwater landscape surrounding the islands. The distribution and characteristics of these additional features suggest that the main pyramid may be part of a larger complex of structures that extends across significant areas of the ocean floor. Remote-operated vehicle exploration of the Azorian structures has provided high-definition imagery that reveals construction details and surface characteristics that are not apparent in sonar data alone. These underwater surveys have documented what appear to be precisely cut stone surfaces, regular geometric patterns, and structural features that suggest advanced construction techniques. The preservation of these surface details in the marine environment has allowed for analysis of construction methods and architectural principles that might not be preserved in surface archaeological sites. The astronomical alignments of the Azorian pyramid have attracted attention from researchers studying the relationship between ancient architecture and celestial phenomena. Preliminary analysis suggests that the structure may be oriented according to specific astronomical directions that correspond to important celestial events such as solstices, equinoxes, or the positions of significant star configurations. These potential astronomical relationships would indicate that the builders of the structure possess sophisticated knowledge of celestial mechanics and incorporated this understanding into their architectural designs. The technical challenges involved in studying the Azorian underwater structures reflect the broader difficulties facing underwater archaeology in general. The depth and location of the structures require specialized equipment and techniques for detailed investigation, while the marine environment presents preservation challenges for any artifacts or samples recovered from the site. Weather conditions in the North Atlantic can limit access to the site, making comprehensive archaeological investigation a long-term and expensive undertaking. The political and scientific implications of the Azorian discoveries have generated considerable interest from international research institutions and government agencies. The potential significance of these structures for understanding prehistoric Atlantic civilizations has led to proposals for comprehensive international research collaborations, though the technical and financial challenges involved in deep-sea archaeological investigation have limited the scope of actual research activities. The structures remain largely unexplored despite their potential importance for Atlantic archaeology. Comparative analysis of the Azorian structures with other underwater megalithic discoveries has revealed intriguing similarities in construction techniques, geometric proportions, and astronomical orientations. These similarities suggest that the Azorian complex may be related to other underwater discoveries throughout the Atlantic basin, possibly representing remnants of a common cultural tradition that extended across vast oceanic distances. The consistency of architectural principles across these widely separated sites challenges conventional understanding of prehistoric maritime capabilities and cultural interaction. The geological stability of the Azorian structures has been the subject of considerable research interest due to the ongoing volcanic activity in the region. Understanding how artificial structures might be preserved in such a geologically active environment could provide insights into the preservation conditions for other underwater archaeological sites in similar settings. The interaction between artificial construction and natural geological processes at the Azorian site may serve as a model for understanding preservation mechanisms at other underwater megalithic locations. Advanced imaging and analysis techniques applied to the Azorian discoveries have revealed structural details that were not apparent in initial surveys. Three-dimensional modeling based on multiple sonar passes and ROV imagery has created detailed digital reconstructions that allow for comprehensive analysis of the structure's geometric properties and architectural relationships. These models have revealed complex internal architecture and surface features that suggest sophisticated design and construction planning. The environmental impact studies conducted in connection with the Azorian discoveries have revealed that the structures serve as important habitat for marine life and may play significant roles in local ecological systems. Understanding these ecological relationships is important both for environmental protection and for planning research activities that minimize impact on marine ecosystems. The integration of archaeological and environmental research objectives presents unique challenges for underwater investigation of the site. The discovery of potential artifact deposits associated with the Azorian structures has raised hopes for recovering material evidence that could provide definitive proof of artificial construction and potentially allow for accurate dating of the complex. Deep-sea exploration has identified areas where sediment accumulation may have preserved organic materials, stone tools, or other archaeological artifacts that could provide crucial evidence about the structure's origin and the capabilities of their builders. The global pattern and scientific controversies. As we examine the underwater megalithic discoveries from the Bahamas, Cuba, the Azores, and numerous other locations worldwide, a remarkable pattern emerges that challenges fundamental assumptions about prehistoric human capabilities and the timeline of architectural achievement. These discoveries, scattered across different ocean basins and documented by independent research teams using sophisticated scientific equipment, display striking similarities in construction techniques, geometric principles, and astronomical orientations that suggest they may represent remnants of a global phenomenon rather than isolated regional developments. The consistency of megalithic construction techniques observed across these widely separated underwater sites is particularly intriguing from an archaeological perspective. Precision stone cutting, complex geometric layouts, and advanced engineering principles appear in structures located thousands of miles apart in different oceanic regions. The mathematical precision and astronomical alignments found in these structures suggest that their builders possess sophisticated knowledge that was shared across vast geographic distances, implying either extensive prehistoric maritime contact or the existence of a common cultural tradition that extended throughout multiple ocean basins. The timeline implications of these underwater megalithic discoveries present perhaps the greatest challenge to conventional archaeological understanding. The depths at which many of these structures are found, combined with geological evidence about historical sea level changes, suggest construction dates that predate known advanced civilizations by several millennia. If these dating estimates are accurate, they would require fundamental revision of established timelines for human technological and architectural development, particularly in regions like the Americas where advanced construction capabilities were supposedly not developed until much later periods. The technological capabilities demonstrated by these underwater megalithic structures often exceed what mainstream archaeology attributes to the civilizations that supposedly existed during the proposed construction periods. Advanced mathematics, sophisticated engineering, precise astronomical knowledge, and organizational capabilities sufficient to undertake massive construction projects all appear to have been present among prehistoric populations that are typically characterized as primitive hunter-gatherer societies. This technological anachronism forces uncomfortable questions about the accuracy of conventional archaeological interpretations and the possibility that significant human achievements have been overlooked or deliberately ignored. The geological controversies surrounding underwater megalithic discoveries reflect broader tensions between different scientific disciplines and interpretive frameworks. Geologists studying these formations often focus on natural formation mechanisms and are reluctant to invoke artificial construction explanations without overwhelming evidence. Archaeologists, meanwhile, face pressure to conform to established chronologies and are often skeptical of discoveries that challenge fundamental assumptions about prehistoric capabilities. This interdisciplinary tension has resulted in scientific debates that sometimes seem to prioritize theoretical consistency over empirical evidence. The methodological challenges involved in studying underwater megalithic sites reflect the broader difficulties facing underwater archaeology as a scientific discipline. The technical requirements for deep-sea investigation, the costs associated with sophisticated underwater survey equipment, and the limited accessibility of many underwater sites all contribute to research limitations that prevent comprehensive investigation of potential archaeological discoveries. These practical constraints mean that many underwater megalithic sites remain inadequately studied, despite their potential significance for understanding human prehistory. The preservation advantages offered by underwater environments have provided unique opportunities for studying ancient construction techniques and architectural principles that would not be available in surface archaeological sites. The protection from weathering, human interference, and surface erosion offered by marine environments has allowed underwater megalithic structures to preserve details of construction methods, surface treatments, and architectural features that would have been destroyed long ago in terrestrial settings. This exceptional preservation has enabled analysis of ancient engineering capabilities with unprecedented detail and accuracy. The international scope of underwater megalithic discoveries has important implications for understanding prehistoric cultural development and interaction. The presence of similar structures in widely separated oceanic regions suggests either extensive prehistoric maritime contact or parallel cultural development that occurred independently in different regions. Either explanation has significant implications for understanding prehistoric human capabilities, particularly regarding navigation, shipbuilding, and long-distance cultural transmission. The scientific verification challenges facing underwater megalithic research reflect broader issues about evidence standards and interpretive frameworks in archaeology and related disciplines. The extraordinary claims implied by these discoveries require extraordinary evidence, but the technical difficulties involved in underwater investigation often prevent the collection of comprehensive evidence that would satisfy all scientific critics. This evidence gap has allowed continued debate about the significance and interpretation of underwater megalithic discoveries despite decades of research and documentation. The funding limitations affecting underwater megalithic research have prevented comprehensive investigation of many potentially significant sites. The costs associated with deep-sea archaeological investigation far exceed the budgets available to most research institutions, while government agencies and private foundations are often reluctant to support research into controversial archaeological discoveries. This funding shortage has resulted in a situation where potentially revolutionary archaeological sites remain largely unexplored due to practical rather than scientific considerations. The media attention attracted by underwater megalithic discoveries has both helped and hindered scientific investigation of these sites. Public interest in these discoveries has generated awareness and support for underwater archaeological research, but sensationalized reporting and association with fringe theories have also created skepticism among mainstream scientists. The challenge of maintaining scientific credibility while investigating controversial discoveries requires careful balance between open-minded inquiry and rigorous scientific methodology. The technological advances in underwater exploration continue to reveal new details about megalithic structures and to identify additional sites that were previously unknown. Advanced sonar systems, sophisticated ROV capabilities, and improved underwater imaging techniques are providing increasingly detailed documentation of underwater structures and their characteristics. These technological improvements may eventually provide the comprehensive evidence necessary to resolve debates about the origin and significance of underwater megalithic discoveries. The interdisciplinary collaboration required for effective underwater megalithic research brings together expertise from geology, archaeology, oceanography, engineering, and other fields in ways that challenge traditional academic boundaries. This collaborative approach has generated new methodologies and interpretive frameworks that may have applications beyond underwater archaeology. The integration of different scientific perspectives has proven essential for understanding the complex factors that affect underwater archaeological sites and their preservation. The long-term research implications of underwater megalithic discoveries extend beyond questions about specific structures to fundamental issues about human prehistory and the development of civilization. If these structures prove to be artificial constructions of significant antiquity, they would require revision of established archaeological timelines and assumptions about prehistoric capabilities. Such revisions would have implications for understanding human evolution, cultural development, and the relationship between technological advancement and social organization. As our exploration of underwater pyramids and megalithic structures draws to a close, we find ourselves confronting evidence that challenges some of the most fundamental assumptions about human prehistory and the development of civilization. Whether these structures represent natural geological formations, misinterpreted archaeological remains, or genuine evidence of advanced prehistoric construction capabilities, they demand serious scientific investigation and open-minded evaluation of their implications for understanding our past. The underwater megalithic mysteries we have explored serve as reminders that the ocean depths continue to hold secrets that may require us to completely reconsider our understanding of human history and capabilities. As exploration technology continues to advance and new discoveries emerge from the depths, we may find that the greatest archaeological treasures of human civilization lie not in desert tombs or jungle ruins, but beneath the waves that have protected them from surface destruction for thousands of years. The question that remains is whether we have the scientific courage and intellectual flexibility to accept what these underwater monuments may be trying to tell us about the true scope and antiquity of human achievement. Conclusion: the ocean's eternal mysteries. As we surface from our 4-hour journey through the deepest mysteries of our planet's oceans, we find ourselves forever changed by what we have witnessed in the crushing depths below. From the controversial stone structures off Japan's coast to the ghostly apparitions of humanoid giants in Antarctic waters, from ancient mechanical computers recovered from Mediterranean shipwrecks to modern submarines that vanish without explanation, we have explored a realm where the boundaries between fact and legend, between scientific discovery and enduring mystery, blur like the shifting currents of the abyss itself. The ocean, covering more than 70% of our planet's surface yet remaining less than 5% explored, stands as humanity's final frontier, not in some distant galaxy among alien stars, but here beneath the waves of our own world. In an age when we can photograph the surface of Mars with stunning clarity and detect planets orbiting distant suns, the deepest trenches of our own oceans remain as alien and inaccessible as any extraterrestrial landscape. This profound irony reminds us that the greatest mysteries of our universe may not lie light years away, but rather miles beneath the surface of the waters that surround us every day. Each mystery we have explored today represents more than an isolated enigma. They are windows into the vast unknown that still dominates our understanding of Earth itself. The Yonaguni Monument challenges our assumptions about when human civilization began and what our ancestors were capable of achieving. The lost cities of Heraklion and Pavlopetri reveal that the rise and fall of civilizations follows patterns far more complex than our simplified historical narratives suggest. The Antikythera mechanism demonstrates that technological capability has never followed the neat linear progression that textbooks describe, but rather has surged and vanished in cycles that we are only beginning to understand. The vanished vessels we examined, from the 19th century Mary Celeste to the 21st century Kaz II, remind us that even in our hyper-connected age of satellite surveillance and digital communication, the ocean can still swallow ships and their crews as completely as if they had never existed. These disappearances follow patterns that span more than a century, suggesting that whatever forces are responsible for these maritime mysteries operate according to principles that our current understanding of physics, meteorology, and human behavior cannot adequately explain. The natural phenomena we explored in the deepest trenches and most remote ocean regions reveal that our planet still harbors secrets that challenge the fundamental assumptions of modern science. The mysterious sounds emanating from Challenger Deep, the impossible water circulation patterns of the Dragon Hole, and the persistent disappearances in the Devil's Sea all suggest that the natural world operates according to principles that remain beyond our current comprehension. These phenomena remind us that the earth beneath our feet and the waters that surround us are far stranger and more complex than we have ever imagined. The military mysteries we uncovered demonstrate that even in humanity's most documented conflict, secrets remain hidden that challenge our understanding of what was truly achieved during those desperate years when the fate of civilization hung in the balance. The phantom submarines of World War II, with their impossible technologies and inexplicable capabilities, suggest that the boundaries of human innovation under extreme pressure may extend far beyond what official histories acknowledge. These discoveries force us to question not only what we think we know about the past, but what might be possible when human ingenuity confronts seemingly insurmountable challenges. Perhaps most provocatively, our exploration of deep-sea legends and the documented phenomenon of abyssal gigantism reveals that the line between mythology and biology may be far thinner than we have assumed. The consistent reports of encounters with creatures that seem to exist at the very limits of biological possibility remind us that evolution in Earth's most extreme environments may follow pathways that surface-dwelling organisms, including ourselves, cannot even imagine. The deep ocean has proven time and again that life finds ways to thrive in conditions that should be impossible, taking forms that challenge every assumption about what living organisms can become. What emerges from our investigation is not a collection of solved puzzles, but rather a portrait of a planet that remains fundamentally mysterious, despite centuries of scientific inquiry and technological advancement. Each answer we uncover seems to generate additional questions. Each mystery we explore reveals new layers of complexity that extend far beyond our initial observations. The ocean depths continue to guard their secrets jealously, yielding clues and fragments that tantalize us with possibilities, while withholding the comprehensive understanding that would allow us to truly comprehend what lies beneath the waves. The technologies that have revolutionized our ability to explore the deep ocean, from sophisticated sonar systems to advanced submersibles capable of reaching the deepest trenches, have paradoxically revealed just how much we do not know. Every new expedition, every advanced survey, every deployment of cutting-edge underwater technology seems to uncover additional mysteries rather than providing definitive answers to existing questions. The more capable our exploration tools become, the more apparent it becomes that the ocean depths harbor phenomena that may require entirely new scientific frameworks to understand. This persistent mystery in the face of advancing technology suggests that the ocean's secrets may not yield to conventional scientific approaches alone. Perhaps the mysteries we have explored today represent not just gaps in our current knowledge, but indicators that our fundamental understanding of physics, biology, geology, and even history may be incomplete. The consistency of anomalous phenomena across different ocean regions, time periods, and types of observation suggests that we may be dealing with aspects of reality that do not fit comfortably within existing scientific paradigms. Yet this enduring mystery should not discourage us, but rather inspire us to continue pushing the boundaries of exploration, and understanding. The ocean depths that once seemed forever beyond human reach have gradually yielded to advancing technology and human determination. Structures that were dismissed as natural formations have been revealed through careful investigation to show signs of artificial construction. Creatures that were considered mythological have been documented through increasingly sophisticated observation techniques. Technologies that seemed impossible for their historical periods have been recovered and analyzed using modern scientific methods. The pattern that emerges from these discoveries suggests that the boundary between the possible and impossible is far more fluid than we typically assume. What seems beyond the realm of possibility today may prove to be documented reality tomorrow, just as many of the mysteries we have explored were once dismissed as folklore or misidentification before careful investigation revealed their authentic nature. The ocean continues to teach us that the universe is far stranger, more complex, and more wonderful than our current understanding suggests. As you consider the mysteries we have explored together today, you may find yourself questioning which phenomena represent genuine unknown realities and which might be explained through misidentification, exaggeration, or misunderstanding. This skeptical evaluation is not only natural but necessary. The scientific method requires that we distinguish between authentic anomalies that demand explanation and apparent mysteries that can be resolved through conventional analysis. But as you weigh the evidence we have presented, consider that each mystery we have explored has been documented by multiple independent sources, investigated by qualified experts, and verified through various scientific methods. The ancient structures we examined have been measured and mapped by archaeologists using the most advanced techniques available. The vanished vessels we discussed are documented in official records and have been the subjects of extensive investigations. The natural phenomena we explored have been detected by sophisticated instruments and confirmed through multiple observation methods. The question is not whether these mysteries exist. The evidence for their reality is overwhelming. The question is what they represent and what their existence means for our understanding of the world around us. Do the impossible sounds echoing from the deepest trenches indicate unknown geological processes, undiscovered biological phenomena, or something even more extraordinary? Do the reports of humanoid giants in Antarctic waters represent misidentified known species, previously unknown forms of life, or encounters with something that exists at the very boundaries of biological possibility? Perhaps the most profound question raised by our exploration is whether these mysteries represent isolated anomalies or indicators of a much larger reality that we have barely begun to comprehend. The consistency of unexplained phenomena across different ocean regions, the persistence of similar mysteries across different historical periods, and the accumulation of evidence that challenges multiple scientific disciplines all suggest that we may be observing fragments of a much larger puzzle that extends far beyond any individual mystery. The ocean depths that have yielded these mysteries continue to hold secrets that may take decades or centuries to uncover. New technologies under development promise to extend our exploration capabilities even further into the abyss, while advancing analytical techniques may allow us to extract new information from evidence that has already been gathered. Each technological breakthrough brings us closer to understanding phenomena that currently seem impossible, while simultaneously revealing new layers of mystery that we had never previously imagined. What remains certain is that the ocean's mysteries will continue to challenge and inspire future generations of explorers, scientists, and investigators. The deep sea that has hidden its secrets for millennia is slowly beginning to yield to human curiosity and technological capability. But this process of discovery is revealing a world far stranger and more complex than anyone anticipated. The mysteries we have explored today may represent only the beginning of discoveries that will fundamentally transform our understanding of our planet and our place within it. As our journey through the ocean's deepest mysteries comes to an end, we leave you with questions that extend far beyond the specific phenomena we have explored. In a universe where quantum mechanics suggests that reality itself may be far stranger than classical physics assumed, where the discovery of extremophile organisms has expanded our understanding of life's possibilities, and where advancing technology continues to reveal new layers of complexity in supposedly familiar environments, how do we distinguish between the genuinely impossible and the merely improbable? The mysteries of the deep ocean serve as a reminder that we live on a planet that still holds secrets capable of challenging our most fundamental assumptions about reality itself. Whether you choose to interpret these mysteries as evidence of unknown natural phenomena, indicators of historical realities that have been forgotten or suppressed, or simply as puzzles that await future scientific explanation, they represent authentic challenges to our understanding of the world around us. The ocean depths continue their eternal dance between revelation and concealment, occasionally yielding fragments of truth that illuminate new possibilities while simultaneously shrouding new mysteries in impenetrable darkness. In these depths, where pressure and time operate according to rules that surface dwellers can barely comprehend, the boundaries between science and legend, between the possible and impossible, between the known and unknowable, remain as fluid and mysterious as the waters themselves. What do you believe lies hidden in the crushing depths we have explored today? Which of these mysteries speaks to you as genuine phenomena awaiting scientific explanation, and which seem like modern myths that will eventually yield to conventional understanding? The answers to these questions may say as much about the limits of human knowledge as they do about the endless capacity of our planet's oceans to surprise, challenge, and humble us with their enduring mysteries.